You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austen Show.
Well, there he is, Tank Bigsby, and he is now a Philadelphia Eagle. Gosh, we've had a lot of conversations about the running back room of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it turns out on Monday evening, the Jaguars said, we've got too many guys. We've got enough guys. Let's go get a couple more draft picks for Tank Bigsby and see if we can maybe get back into that first round in 2026. Now they've got a massive amount of ammo to be able to do that. Is it the right move to trade Tank? Was he the odd man out and the right guy to be the odd man out? And I'm not sure anybody would have predicted this a few months ago, but we did talk about it. I went back and looked back in June about his role, even before camp, right around the start of camp. We were talking about could he be the trade candidate. Everybody was so locked in on ETN potentially being the trade candidate. It turns out that it's Tank Bigsby. And I would say this, Austin, as we welcome everybody to a show, and hello from Fernandina Beach at Mason's Famous Lobster Rolls in Fernandina Beach as we make the rounds on their three different locations, Durban, the town center, and right here in Fernandina. Get the little rain right now up here in Fernandina. It's been raining on weird times of day around Jacksonville in the last couple of weeks. But are you surprised? Because I'm not surprised the Jags unload a back, and maybe not even that it's Tank, Austin, but I'm maybe a bit surprised it's right after week one.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Mic check. Can you hear me? Hand me my on. I can't hear myself. Okay. I can't hear myself. But all right. Yeah. So good. Okay. Cool. I'm not surprised whatsoever because this is really the Evan Ingram effect again, right? Where I always said I didn't think Tank Bigsby necessarily fit the mold of what Liam Coen was looking for in a running back. Now, the timing could be said it's a little weird, but I think that's more of making sure your rookies were ready to also carry the lion's share if Tank Bigsby was gone. Because if you look at Tank Bigsby and what he's great at, and make no mistake about it, like he's a great running back in what he does. And that's running between the tackles, and that's being a short yardage running back. Well, now you have LaQuinn Allen, who showed that he can run between the tackles and lower his shoulder and deliver punishment. And you also have Tuten kind of coming along now as well, who showed that he can run between the tackles. So in terms of a short yardage running back, well, you have that with two other guys, it feels like. And I think LaQuinn Allen is a lot better in pass protection than Tank Bigsby is. So shout out to James Gladstone for essentially getting rid of a player who probably wasn't going to be playing a lot in this offense and actually getting something for him.
Yeah, I think that's what's interesting, right? Is he just doesn't seem like he fits this offense and what he wants to do, what they want to do, as much as the other guys. They went out and drafted a couple of guys. They obviously have an investment in that, and I think this says also a lot about Travis Etienne and his skill set, and obviously what he did and what he's been doing. See, that's the thing; it's what he's been doing. I don't think this is just a one-game sample. Say, okay, we can trade somebody. I think this was, hey, we got a guy that's looking like he's going to perform well in this offense, and then we've also got these other investments. I think it says a little bit about Tank and his skill set, Austin, in this offense and how it fits. But I think it says a lot about the other three guys in the room, investment and performance.
Yeah, I mean, like I opened with, it's simply he doesn't fit the role of what Liam Cohen's trying to do, and it's not a knock on Tank Bigsby. I think now in Philly,
he's just not a pass catcher.
Well, yeah, he's not a pass. Well, yeah, I mean, he's had a nice screen in the preseason. Like, I think no.
I just think he's not a pass catcher.
Well, I mean, that's not his game, obviously. But once again, I just think he'll be the kick returner or whatever in Philly because they have A.J. Dillon and company. So, like, it's not like he's scammering for reps there. It's just the fact of you have four running backs that you could justify playing with. And you know what? Tank Bigsby was the odd man out. So I'm not surprised. I think, once again, shout out to Liam Coen for getting something for him because the theory is you could have waited longer, right, till more injuries happen. But would you have got that much more of draft capital for Tank Bigsby? Like, give me the last running back that got any kind of draft capital set aside from Christian McCaffrey and go.
Yeah, I think this is a really good haul for a running back. Like, that's why I think this is a good move. I mean, it's a 5th-round pick and a 6th-round pick. 5th-round picks can be good, and then a 4th-round pick, I think because of the whole Huff trade, is if you read into it now, if he gets 8 sacks, then that would move to a 4th-round pick. That's the one Philly ends up giving. Jacksonville, Philly, by the way, had 4 2026 5th-round picks, so they obviously had room to do this. From Philly's side of things, it's looks like a kick return move as well as a depth move behind Saquon Barkley, so they also like that part of it for him. But, yeah, also I think Gladstone did a nice job on the return. I think if you really look around what the league is saying, they're like, this is a really good move for Jacksonville. And we know what the big picture is for Jacksonville, right? Get as much ammo as possible, try to get back into that first round. They now have 13 picks in next year's draft. You should be able to compile some of those together and move back up because you gave away the first-round pick to Cleveland in the Travis Hunter deal. So to me, this is really good wheeling and dealing, setting the table for down the road, and it shows also an investment in the right now with guys like ETN and the young players that you have. You just don't need 4 backs. It's really, you can run by committee, but 4 backs is a lot.
Yeah, and I understand, too, that obviously you're building up all this draft capital for next year if you want to try to get back in the first round, and maybe that's the case, but also I think what it shows with James Gladstone is that he's always plotting. He's always scheming, right? Like, you just won your first NFL game. One would think, okay, let's just put in cruise control, now get ready for Cincinnati, but you're still working. So I don't necessarily think all this draft capital is even for next year. I think if there's an interior defensive lineman who becomes available, who's on the trade table, I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville traded for that guy as well. Like, just because they have a lot of draft capital, quote unquote, for next year, doesn't mean they can't use it this year as well for a player.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's something I asked him a couple weeks ago when we were doing that interview. I said, hey, you look positioned pretty well. I think they have like $10 million in cap space. I think that's the number, and now positioned well for another move this year. He said during that conversation, it's like, listen, he had said it during the press conference right before. You can get good in the offseason. The great teams evolve during the season. This is part of the evolution. Is there another one hanging on down the road? I think what's kind of fascinating here, if we just take the ETN part of it, is so many people were done with ETN. Not this guy, by the way, but that's not what I'm here to tell you about. But I'm a big ETN guy. Like, I have been an ETN guy, and I think he had a heck of an offseason to get to this stage. But so many folks were like, Tank's the better runner. Tank's going to be the number 1 guy. And then, of course, you marry it with the offense and you get everything that we're saying and people have said about how the fit is. But I think it just says a lot about ETN because I think so many folks, and even myself included, wondered, coming off the game on Sunday, okay, if he continues to perform well, depending on where you are at in October, he might become a very valuable trade piece for somebody even halfway through the year, depending on your situation. So I think ETN was like still with a good performance, still with a good camp, still with being the lead guy, potentially a trade piece for James Gladstone and company. I think that now goes out the window because, well, I think I'm saying all the way until last night. I mean, again, you have 4 backs, and you have no control over him after this year. So if you were 3 and whatever near the trade deadline, and you could get some value and give ETN to a team that's a contender, he certainly would have been a potential trade piece, especially if he's playing good. But now that's not the case. Like, that one comes off the table. He's your guy, and now it's just a matter of him and Tuten complementing each other and who's going to be the guy most of the time. Because LaQuinn Allen's not going to be that much of their runner. He's definitely their third down back.
Yeah, for sure. And listen, if you want to make an argument and say maybe you should have kept Tank, obviously it's in terms of if something should happen to Travis Etienne during this season. And now you're going to rely on essentially 2 rookies to kind of carry the workload. And, that can be a little stressful. So, once again, I think Tank Bigsby getting traded, I think it was the right move. I think it made the most sense. I don't think you would have gotten much more from, even if it's halfway through the season. Now, just looking at how these trades work out with running backs, unfortunately, the running back position, it's a position that isn't highly coveted in terms of draft capital, in terms of contracts, unless you have a Derrick Henry, unless you have a Christian McCaffrey or a Saquon Barkley. If you don't have those 3 guys, teams are willing to draft. They're willing to go undrafted free agents and work them into the lineup. So I think you got what you got for him. But also now this goes to show you with Travis Etienne, I mean, this is essentially your showcase now. Like, you're going to be the guy, because I do think Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne were kind of, neck and neck of how this rotation was going to work. And now that Tank Bigsby's gone, it's the Travis Etienne show until further notice. And it's crazy how it echoes Rachaad White and Bucky Irving now. Because if you look at the career trajectory of Rachaad White and Travis Etienne, there is some similarities now. The difference between Rachaad White and Travis Etienne is last year when Rachaad White was given the opportunity to get the starting reps, he didn't shine. He kind of faltered, and Bucky Irving came in and took over. Right now, Travis Etienne still looking like the man because, well, the performance on the field backs it up.
Yeah, I think this is a heck of a story for Travis Etienne, quite honestly. I don't think they were all – it's not even don't think. Like, it's obvious. They weren't all in on Travis Etienne doing this. When all you have is tape, you have fit, you have contracts, you have all this information at your disposal. I'm not telling you they don't like the guy, Travis Etienne. They didn't like him at all. I think there are certainly some things in his skill set that would make sense. I just think the way this moved in the first couple of months of their tenure, Liam Coen, James Gladstone, Tony Baselli, this was not the real vision of this thing going forward. That we would not have predicted this, that Bigsby gone, Etienne, the guy, really, until further notice, because they were trying to get Ashton Genty and R.J. Harvey, and they were trying to get other guys to kind of be the lead back. And if you pick Ashton Genty instead of trade up for Travis Hunter, well, he's the guy. Like, there's no doubt. You got to pick the 5th overall pick, and Etienne's not beating him out. It doesn't matter. You have to play him. So I don't know about R.J. Harvey in the 2nd round. That might have changed a little bit different. Or maybe it was the 3rd round. But now with Tuten as a 4th-round guy, you can ease him into that more. And Etienne really took his opportunity and literally ran with it. So I just think this is a nice story for Travis Etienne. I think we said multiple times this year as we've dissected the running backs, I don't believe there's a player on this football team that should have a bigger chip on their shoulder than Travis Etienne, with the last 4 or 5 months, the way it's all gone down. And guess what? It looks like he does. He performed on Sunday. Now you just go hope he continues to perform like he did in 2022 in the first half of 23. And I think there's some confidence in that, Austin. I think people had lost confidence in Travis Etienne. I think the fan base now has confidence that he can do that.
Yeah, and as they should. And we have a question in the chat from Daniel Kilkenny. Can you explain why Etienne won't be re-signed, yet you say that another team will sign him and pay him what he's worth? Okay, so let's go over this real quick. They had a chance to sign his 5th-year option, yeah? Didn't do it, right?
They did.
Said we're all set. So
No. They did. They did pick up his 50. They didn't pick up Devin Lloyd's 50.
Oh, Devin Lloyd's. My bad. Okay, sorry. So
Etienne.
this is last year. Okay. But anyway, sorry. The reason why they won't re-sign him is simply because they have Tuten now. And if I'm Travis Etienne and I'm a running back, I'm trying to get as much money as possible. If I look at how the roster shakes out next year with LaQuinn Allen, who they seem to really like, with Tuten, who obviously they like, I'm worried about my reps. And at the end of the day, it's all about the reps and it's all about what you can do for a team. So there's going to be a lot of teams out there looking for that, maybe that every down back. The Jacksonville Jaguars aren't one of them. So I just think in terms of pay scale, in terms of the equity of what you can make, like, sure, if you want to take a hometown discount by $2, $3, $4 million a year and come back to Jacksonville, we'll all welcome him back with open arms. But if I'm Travis Etienne, I'm going where they're going to pay me the most, and it's not going to be in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense what you just said, and I think that's why Daniel Kilkenny. I don't know what he's going to make after this year. We'll see how he does, and obviously there's reason why I said the biggest chip on your shoulder, because this is a business decision. He gets one more chance really to cash in, and it's coming up. He's had a nice career so far in Jacksonville. I know there are people like, well, was it worth a first-round pick? Well, he's now had a 5-year career in Jacksonville. He's had some success here in Jacksonville. What has he just moved up to 6th all-time on the Jags rushing list? And this is a place that's had some good backs over the years. And if he can continue to play like he did again in 22 and early 23, he's going to have himself a nice season. and he's still going to be a young enough guy with a lot of game left that's going to really fit in a lot of systems because of his ability to run and catch and even run hard, in between the tackles, but also get out in space. People like that. So I think you're right. I think he's going to get paid. I doubt he gets paid by this organization because of their investment in the future backs right now. I would assume you can't rule it out. I just think that price tag would be a little hefty for this new regime. And, again, they're not tied to him. If this was still the bulky regime, maybe you would consider it. I don't think that. That's way down the line. Let's see what kind of year he has. I just think the odds are certainly against him signing here in Jacksonville, when especially, I'll give you another reason why, they've got 1 million picks now, so you can just go get another running back in the 3rd or 4th or 5th round next year, and we know you can find him in those spots. So it doesn't really add up for him to be a Jacksonville Jaguar beyond this year in many respects, but it also doesn't mean he can't have a fantastic season as the lead back and hold Tuten off as long as possible, because that becomes the race. How long will he hold Tuten off in this running back by committee? Because I'll tell you what, Austin, it can be running back by committee, but after Sunday, he's the number one guy.
No, of course he's the number one guy. And when it comes down to it, it's his job to lose. I mean, we talked about it before the season even started. Like, they're going to give Travis Etienne every opportunity to be the starting running back until he's not. And so far, so good. Week 1 against the Carolina Panthers, Travis Etienne, you're the starting running back. Simple as that.
I'm going to give you one other thing that might not be as fun to talk about that I'd just like to tell you how I really think and being honest here. And I do like Tank Bigsby's running style. I think when you now have Bigsby out of the fold, he did have those fumble problems. And Tuten is a guy that people are still kind of wait and see on the ball security part of it. And I'm not even leaning on like the kick return where he kind of fumbled that one around and then got it back the other day. I'm just saying in his collegiate career, that's one of the reasons he dropped to the 4th round is because of ball security. And again, Bigsby had some of those issues as well. So I guess from a standpoint of if you were going to run back by committee and you were going to use Bigsby, Etienne, and Tuten, I'm a little bit like one eye open sometimes with Bigsby and Tuten running the football and holding on to the football. And so that's in the back of my mind when I watch those guys run right now until it's not. Now, what a lot of people might say is like, well, Etienne, I mean, he had that big fumble against Miami. It's legitimately his only fumble in over 525 touches now. I mean, one fumble in his last 525-plus touches. So I don't really have those concerns, even though there was a stretch of time, I think it was 22, where he did fumble the football and then corrected it, to his credit. So from a ball security standpoint, I don't know. I don't want to say, like, I'm glad Tank's out of here because I was concerned he was going to fumble every time he touched it. It's just that two of the guys that were going to carry the rock, you're a little bit like, please hold on to it, if you know what I mean, Austin.
No, absolutely. But this is why it's great to have Travis Etienne here now because obviously he's the lead back, right? So there's no pressure on Tuten to rush the ball 20 to 25 times a game and maybe put himself at risk for, letting the ball go and fumbling it. Like, I think this is the beauty when you can bring a running back along a little bit who's maybe been known a little bit to have a fumbling issue. You put him in 2 reps here, 3 reps there and everything and just acclimate him because it is different going from the college game to the pro game, right? You have to have your head on a swivel a little more in terms of guys trying to knock the ball out. Guys hit harder. Guys are faster. So Tuten will learn that, right? And it's going to be on him to kind of clean that up a little bit. But I do like the fact of they're easing him in. They're not just going to say, hey, Tuten, go out there and give us 20 rushes a game because that's where fumbles can happen. Usually when you get a chance to prove yourself, you're a little more cautious with the football, right? You're a little more fresher. You're not fatigued. So that's how they're going to bring Tuten along, I feel like. We'll just give him reps here, give him reps there sparingly, and let Etienne lead the way until further notice.
Hey, one other thing about Tuten here. It's going to be fun. I thought it was a nifty run. What, did he run it like twice, 2 times the other day? The one run was a nifty run. Like, it was just like from an eye test standpoint, it was a cool run. And he didn't even have a ton of carries in the preseason. So our sample size is so small. we know that his speed plays, and people are excited about him. And I can just tell you, everyone you talk to, they're like, hey, he's the best back in the room. He's their best back in the room. This was before the Bigsby trade. I don't know that yet, Austin. I mean, I haven't seen enough from him, and I'm not telling you they're wrong, but I just haven't seen enough to know that. Again, what do we know? I know ETN has done it before. What do you see from Tuten that gets you excited, that has these guys so excited, that has everybody around the league really excited? Because it's not just here in Jacksonville, but people will start to look at tape and be like, watch this guy now. He's special. This could be a steal. Like all these different things based on his speed, but also his vision, I think, that really plays.
Well, it's his, I mean, for me, it's his speed. It's his home run capabilities. If you would have had Tuten on that play where Travis Etienne had the 75-yard run, that probably would have been a touchdown, right? Like that's what people are excited for. They're excited for the home run football, right? They're excited for if this guy gets a little space in the open field, he's gone. Like speed kills. You can't teach speed. Vision comes, I think, with experience. Vision comes with, getting your reps in and everything. But either you have speed or you don't. And Tuten has speed. So that's where I think the excitement and the intrigue comes from. But once again, like, I'm not ready to call him and say he's going to be a Pro Bowler one day. Like, we still have to see it for ourselves. And once again, like, he has to get his reps in terms of diagnosing where the defensive line is, diagnosing where the holes are going to be, or at having those cutback lanes and everything. Because I think Carolina was a prime example where Tuten tried to cut back a little too hard and ended up getting, I think, tackled for, was it a 0-yard gain or a 1-yard loss, as opposed to just maybe falling forward for maybe 2 or 3 yards, right? And that's going to come with time, where sometimes as a running back you have to understand, yes, you have the speed to hit the home run, but this team will take singles and sometimes doubles as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Listen, I'm excited to watch him. I've heard so many good things about him. I just need a little bit more. I need to see a bit more to know. I mean, outside of practices and few samples in the preseason. So it'll be fun to watch this develop. And if they have a guy, I really start to think about you on the running back front. I think I've mentioned this before because to me, if they are right, and really the guy that helps this whole domino is the 7th-round pick, LaQuint Allen. The reason why this happens today, in my opinion, is really LaQuint Allen, because he's been able to now come in and they have trust in him for his job, which is a pass pro guy, and he can catch it out of the backfield. He's a third down guy that they can rely on, and they were impressed with what he did. I know Liam Coen mentioned the one play on a couple of occasions now that he picked up the blitz, made it, I think it was a De'Ami Brown catch from Trevor Lawrence that helped make that play happen. And I think that might have been the late in the half to get up to the field goal range, if I'm not mistaken. So, he's the guy that actually helped make this happen, even more than Tuten, in my opinion. But Tuten can also give you what Bigsby was giving you. He can give you the kickoff return guy as well. I think you want to get him the ball in that kind of space to show off his speed. So the reason why I think of you, Austin, is this is James Gladstone now on the second half of the draft. On the third day of the draft, finding guys that can really help his football team. And we just haven't seen that a lot, especially with instant impact. We might get instant impact from a 4th-round pick and a 7th-round pick. We've hardly been able to get instant impact from a 2nd and 3rd-round pick at times in the last handful of years.
No, yeah. Now, will they be the difference makers? I mean, time will tell. But the fact that you can use your later-round picks and actually get some playing time out of them despite the position, that speaks everything in terms of how this draft is shaking out. And keep in mind, I mean, what was it, their 3rd-round pick, Caleb Bransall? We're not going to see him this year, right? So he's kind of on the back burner until next year. So, yeah, it's important to get at least some kind of usage out of your draft. And you're seeing this in late-round picks, which is great.
Yeah, so interesting development last night. I think it came kind of soon. That was the surprising part. I didn't see a week 1 trade already, and Philly jumps all over it. And the Philadelphia Eagles I think this will be a good fit. I mean, it's not a bad deal for Bigsby.
I think
actually have one other thing before we let this thing go.
Hold on. So, Hamby?
I think it's a bad deal for Bigsby. I mean, 6 or 3 months ago, he had a shot to be the Jags starting running back, and now he's sitting behind Saquon Barkley, potentially tie with A.J. Dillon, and Will Shipley comes back. He's going to be the more the third down guy because he can catch the ball. So is then Bigsby just relegated to catching kicks, half of which are touchbacks anyway? To go from potentially a starter to potentially just a kick returner is kind of a raw deal.
Well, I think, by the way, I think the kickoff return is not going to be half of them. I think in the league it was like 70-something% that were returned. I think that's become a league mandate behind closed doors. Let's get this kick return going. That's what my interpretation of that is. So I think he does have a role there. I think Shipley's got a rib injury right now. How serious is that? He left the game for a bit. Yeah, so, I mean, okay, well, that's an opportunity, right, to jump in there. And I don't know how much opportunity he was getting here. I really don't know how many touches he was going to get here. And I guess what I kind of view that as, you go join a Super Bowl championship team, your style fits what they do as well. They want to bruise you, beat you up, and that's what he does. So that's why I think it might be a pretty good fit for the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll find out how many touches he gets, but I'm not sure he was going to get that many here.
Well, and it begs the question of, like, where would he have worked out then? You know, because in terms of his skill set, he is a little limited. Like, Hamby, you said it yourself. Like, he's not the best receiver. So then if that's the case, I mean, you're probably going to make him more of a first down to goal line type of back. I mean, how many teams in the NFL right now need that type of back?
Not many.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, not really. That's a limited role. That's kind of an interesting way to look at it. I think I read somewhere 8 catches. Well, I know that one. It's like 8 catches in his career. Or no, last year? 8 catches last year or in his career. And 33 snaps at pass pro.
Yeah, so like
you just said it, Austin. I mean, he's really not a factor in those two areas of the football game. Can he do it if he has to do it? Probably, but he hasn't done a lot of it. Martin Buckley chimes in, by the way. Tank Bigsby items are now on sale at PalmBeachAutographs.com. Casey Kurtz might feel the same way on his eBay. Or I don't know. Maybe that doesn't change things. We'll have to ask Casey a little bit later on. We're live at Mason's Famous Lobster Rolls up here in Fernandina Beach. Couple locations in the town center and right here in Fernandina as well. Not sure how many of our listeners are hanging out in Fernandina, but if you're up here, come on out and say hello. We love being up here by the beach on a Tuesday morning, and the big news, Tank Bigsby gets traded away. Did you see the game last night? What did you make of J.J. McCarthy? What did you make of Caleb Williams? What did you make of Ben Johnson, a guy many people around the league coveted? And, oh, by the way, Liam Coen is the only new coach to get a win. That's just 1 week. I won't get carried away with that, but it's a nice start for Liam Coen. It's tough to win those first games and early games when you're a new head coach. We'll talk a little bit about it when we come back here on the Brent and Austin Show on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 Network. Welcome inside the Armor Guard Exterior and Gutter Helmet Showroom. There's a lot going on, like glass exteriors, replacement windows, and down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters, and to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why Gutter Helmet?
Well, Gutter Helmet is truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground, the water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of filters, which requires maintenance. With Gutter Helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter Helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
This has been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax PAL.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can get a free Kinetico reverse osmosis system with a purchase of a Kinetico Premier softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Kinetico water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Kinetico dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
Sun's out, suits out. That's right, it's summertime in Florida, which means it's time to say goodbye to bulking season and hello to shredding season. But if you're like me, you're having a hard time sculpting and shaping those final pounds. That is, until I came and saw my friends over at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Right now, everyone is hopping on the Evolve X train, and the only destination is finding your perfect summer body. The technology uses electrical muscle stimulation and radio frequency energy to cause your muscles to contract, all while heating up those deep layers of your skin and tissue to produce collagen and reduce fat. It's like doing 1,000 sit-ups in 30 minutes. No pain, no needles, just results, right? That's right. So leave those winter layers back at the station and come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Listen, we have entered the social media age of the NFL and marketing. And the tip of the hat goes to my dude, Tier Tart, who not only slaps the ever-loving crap out of Travis Kelce on live television, but then proceeds to double up and goes, I'm too swift with it even in Brazil after a win. Now, I know what you're saying, well, Austin, you know, we shouldn't be promoting violence on the field. We should be promoting hitting, and then we shouldn't be re-upping with an Instagram post talking about Taylor Swift. And I say, shut your mouth. Sit back and take some notes, because this is how you brand yourself. This is how you market yourself. Tier Tart, and once again, if you want to go with PFF, you know, he was in the blue, he was in the 90s, had a great game. If he would have just had a great game, he would have never been mentioned again. Why? Because he's a nose, because he's a defensive tackle. Nobody cares, right? But you slap Travis Kelce, and then you double up with some Taylor Swift quotes, and now he's on E! News. And now he's on Good Morning America. Now everybody's talking about this dude. I celebrate it, man. Marketing to a T. Because let's be honest, Brent, when we talk about, you know, some of those big guys up front, some of those big guys in the trenches, they aren't pulling Sabrina Carpenters and Taylor Swifts and Dua Lipas, right? That's reserved for the skill guys. That's reserved for the quarterbacks, the pretty boys. It's reserved for the slot receivers. It's reserved for the tight ends. It ain't reserved for the big hosses up front. So shout out to Tier Tart for getting for getting him some notoriety. Now, he's getting absolutely lambasted on Instagram from all the Swifties. Like it's bad. Like no, it's funny, but it's also bad. I mean, there's 16-year-old girls right now that are issuing death threats to this dude. Right? Best of luck to you, 16-year-old girls. But I'm saying it's bad right now in the comments. But shout out to Tierra Tart, man. He's taking that social media platform and maximizing it.
He is. That's the way to do it. That's good branding. I mean, you either do it well or you don't. So any press is good press for a nose tackle. I'm curious because as you're saying it, Pop-Tart seems like such a natural next play here. But now with all the Swifties hating him, will Brands be a little bit afraid to touch him because he's not on Team Swifty?
Nah, man. Hey, we see what happened with what's her name? From American Eagle, Sydney Sweeney. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Just hey, go ahead and keep your side over there, and we'll take the other side over here, and we'll be super successful. So no, I don't think brands are worried about Taylor Swift's fans. I mean, it has to make sense, right? It has to be the right brand. I assume there's a lot of teenage girls right now eating Pop-Tarts, so maybe that's not the move, Brent. But who knows?
Yeah, it just seems so obvious, right? That would be so obvious. Interesting to watch. I mean, branding is king right now. One thing we didn't say about the Tank Bigsby thing, you found he retweeted something yesterday, right? Or I don't know if it was Sunday night or Monday.
Yeah, we'll pull it up, but
it was like
friendly.
Yeah, it was basically like where the bleep is Tank Bigsby, something like that. And he retweeted it. So, as Austen said last night in our group text, maybe we should have looked this up and saw it coming a little bit because you do remember the cryptic tweet from August, which I was kind of told that was more about him getting, I wouldn't even say blown up on Twitter. It was like a 12-like post that he saw coming out of a practice that said he got blown up at the goal line. But you kind of wonder if some of this stuff was building even back then to get him frustrated. And obviously wasn't happy with his playing time on Sunday into Monday. And you also wonder, did the Jags make this move on Monday, or are they planning on making this move over the weekend? And is that why they didn't use him some to keep him healthy for this trade? I guess we'll find out maybe a bit more on that as the days go along.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll find out more. But, see, I don't think that was the case. Like, I don't think there was a plan before the game to trade Tank Bigsby because then why would you even play him at all? Right, and then why would he retweet what he retweeted if he knew what the deal was? Right, so I do think the plan was to use him, and then maybe after the game or even on Monday morning, the Eagles may have reached out, or maybe James Gladstone reached out, just because there has been a line of communication now. Because who was the other guy? Fred Johnson was traded to the Eagles. Yeah, Fred Johnson was traded to the Eagles as well. So they do have a little rapport right now built up between the Eagles and the Jaguars. I think, though, one thing we should be asking is if this was the plan all along, or if he kind of was a little upset after the game, hence where the tweet comes in a little bit, where he retweeted, and they just felt the need to get him out of there ASAP, right? Because, once again, if you want to make an argument and say, what was the rush of trading Tank Bigsby right now, why not just, wait for a couple more weeks, make sure everyone's healthy, and heaven forbid somebody gets hurt in the NFL, maybe you do have a little more capital. It wouldn't be much, but maybe you do have a little more capital to trade Tank Bigsby. So I think this was a result of, after that Panthers game, Tank Bigsby being pretty upset in terms of his reps and maybe, expediting the process of getting him out of Jacksonville.
Yeah, who really knows the whole semantics, logistics, operation of this trade? But I think that's a really good point, Austin, and one that's crossed my mind multiple times in the last 12 hours or so, is did he ask for the trade? Did his team ask for the trade? Because, again, we saw where the role was going. The way Tank Bigsby gets on the field and has a major role in this organization is if ETN is not performing well. That's his best way on the field as a first and second down back. Once ETN's performing well, now gives you different looks, different opportunities to get into the passing game. He's definitely the guy you'd rather have out there, even on first and second down, and especially after this performance. So I don't think this was just on Sunday, I'm emotional. I think this was a little bit writing on the wall that if this goes well for ETN, this is not great for Tank. And I think his team could probably see that too. So what did happen first here is interesting, at least from a behind-the-scenes type of situation. Did Tank ask for it, or did they even sense with a situation like maybe Gabe Davis even, where Gabe Davis probably wouldn't have handled being demoted in the receiving room well, so they were like probably better to let's do what's best for him and best for the team rather than just hang on to somebody. Did they sense the same thing, that this could become a bit of an issue? And I'll tell you this, I talked to Tank on Monday of last week or Wednesday of last week. He seemed in great spirits. He was coming off his birthday weekend. He wasn't sure the plan to use him, but I don't think any running back exactly was sure how they were going to be used going into that game. But he seemed like he was in great spirits when I talked to him. So I don't know. I'm not trying to manufacture anything here. I just think it's worthy of at least, hey, did somebody sense something? Or is this totally just a value trade where the Eagles are like, we want this guy. We'll give you a couple picks because the value is good. So this wasn't like, hey, I'm loading him for just a 6th-round pick. The value is really good here, and I don't want to think about injuries. I think the same thing a little bit, though, that if you do lose one of these 3 backs now for any length of time, we might be asking, hey, we need Tank Bigsby around. But on the other side of the token, if Tank Bigsby is playing and he gets banged up, you lose some of the value that you might have with a team like Philadelphia or anything else. So that's just business, I guess, and that's just the sport of football. You hope you get a little bit lucky on the injury front.
Yeah, for sure. But also, like, I mean, I don't think you're worried about Tank Bigsby getting injured because he wasn't going to get a lot of the carries anyways. Like, to me, this screams that Tank Bigsby didn't want to be here, or there was some kind of discrepancy.
Yeah.
Because if I'm James Gladstone, I'm at least going to wait a couple more weeks just to make sure we're all good, just to make sure Tuten, all right, he's ready to go, just to make sure Allen, like, there's no fire. There's no rush. Because I don't think Philly would have been like, okay, well, you got to trade him this week or next week. Like, nope, that's it. We're going to rescind the offer. Like, that's not how it works. Right? So I think this was more on Tank wanting a new opportunity or whatever. Now, to echo Hamby's point earlier on in the show, I'm not sure if they did him the best favor by trading him to Philadelphia because – I mean, you can make an argument and say there's not a lot of room for a Tank Bigsby on the team, but it's definitely not in Philly where you have A.J. Dillon and Shipley and Saquon Barkley. So, I mean, how many carries can he realistically get in that offense? Probably not that. I mean, he's essentially going from what he was doing here in Jacksonville to he's doing the same thing in Philly.
Yeah, maybe with the –
If less even. I mean, set aside from the kickoff returns and everything. But.
Again, maybe the kickoff return is really the only way in because maybe they were going to go Tuten here more on the kickoffs. I mean, the story out of Philly is they wanted to beef up their kickoff return, especially with like 75% of the kickoffs being returned on opening weekend. That was kind of the story of a little bit of motivation to do this. Now, again, for Philly's standpoint, they do get a back in his 3rd year that's had some success, and also they have control over him next year too. So there's some control in this for Philadelphia. With a young back. He just turned 23 years old. Hey, any significance that Liam Coen won his first game and nobody else did as a rookie head coach in the NFL?
I mean, it's a cool thing to put on Twitter, but it doesn't really do much for me, no? I mean, you played the Carolina Panthers. Like, we can say to Ben Johnson, were you supposed to beat the Minnesota Vikings? Well, it was a close game, but, like, I had the Vikings winning. You can go to Aaron Glenn and say, okay, were you supposed to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers? They're pretty consistent in terms of, at least having decent seasons. They have Aaron Rodgers now. So, like, I think out of all those coaches, the one that was expected to win the most won.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Hamby, how about you? Do you have any do you think it means anything?
Does it mean anything that he was traded one day after Cohen's debut?
No. Does it mean anything that is he eating like a hamburger and rice again back there?
I can't tell.
Is that what he's doing back there, sure. Austin?
Finished.
I have no idea. No, Hamby, is there any significance? Is there any significance in the fact that Liam Coen is the only first-year head coach to get a dub first week?
Sorry, I didn't realize we'd moved on from Tank. No, not really. I mean, there were a couple of coaches that looked pretty good. I mean, Aaron Glenn, you could probably make an argument, deserved to win, and looked like he did a pretty good job in his debut. But hey, I mean, I'll plant the flag on it. I love that he was the first one to get a win.
We might trade Hamby by the end of the show for a couple of bags of rice and pounds of hamburger from Costco or something.
PTBNL.
Here's the thing that I thought was I tend to agree with you guys and Austin. Yeah, player to be named later. Austin, I agree with you. I don't really carry much significance with that. I mean, who they played. You know, I think the significant part happened last night in the game with the Chicago Bears. Two things on Ben Johnson. First of all, there was getting a lot of rave reviews about how much better Caleb Williams looked. I missed the good part of Caleb Williams. I know he started 10 for 10, but I was at the show and I got back and watched mostly the second half. So I didn't see the good Caleb Williams, so I don't really have too many thoughts on that. To me, it's more of the situational stuff. First of all, you blow a lead. And early, when I did get, I think this was actually in the second quarter when I first turned the game on, they had like a 4th and 8 or something, or 4th and 5 at the 25-yard line, up 7-3. And they go incomplete pass on that play where they could have kicked a field goal. Like, that might be a separate conversation why all these people are going for 4th downs. But that comes back to bite you. They later would miss a 50-yard field goal as well. And then the kicking game cost them at the end of the game because they try to kick it through the end zone and it doesn't go. Well, listen, we know Caro Santos. He went to St. Joseph Academy. We've been following his career. This guy does not have the biggest leg in the world. Like, for him to miss a 50-yard field goal didn't surprise me. For him to not get it out of the back of the end zone really didn't surprise me. How do you not just kick the ball out of bounds? It's like a 5-yard difference to make sure what happened didn't happen, and Minnesota returns it out of the end zone, and you now have no chance to win the football game because the clock is basically going to run out. So a thing I've been impressed with about Liam Coen is his game management up to this point. He had several opportunities to do it in the preseason. It does not look too big for him. I thought he did a good job of all the game management stuff. Took a risk, obviously, in that early 4th down, which would come back and haunt you if you don't make it. But they got it, so it works out okay. And I'm not saying the game looked too big for Ben Johnson last night. I think he looked fine on the sideline. He'll be fine. But I just think that's where it's not the win as much as it's those situations where I just thought Coen looked a little bit more detailed and better. And then you take the situation up in Tennessee where Callahan doesn't even know the rules of the elbow and the feet on a catch. Like, that's what makes me feel better than even a 1-0 start or an 0-1 start, that the guy you have here in Jacksonville knows what he's doing, knows the game, knows the operation, knows the logistics, knows the details. And in those two examples, I thought he did better than those guys.
No, I agree. But also, you know, at least in the first half, Caleb Williams looked like he was a new quarterback, right? So, like, I mean, there was a lot to like from the Bears in the first half. And
he did look good.
Yeah, he looked like, okay. I'm like, oh, I wasn't even expecting. I'm like, okay, damn, this guy might be the real deal. But then, you know, second half kind of faltered a little bit. I mean, at the end of the day, Ben Johnson told Cairo Santos to kick it out of the end zone. Like, he even said in the press conference. And Santos didn't do it. So, I mean, if you have a kicker in this climate, in this era that can't do that, then maybe it's time to find a new kicker. And I'm not sure if that's more on Ben Johnson or the GM, but he told him what to do. He just couldn't do it. But, yeah, I do think in terms of message and in terms of what Liam Coen has been preaching, yeah, they were a physical football team. It's what they said they were going to be. Now, I'd like to see more out of Trevor Lawrence. We didn't have to see more out of Trevor Lawrence week 1 against the Carolina Panthers because they're the Carolina Panthers. But now week 2 against Cincinnati, where you probably got to keep serve with an offense that I feel like didn't get utilized like they're supposed to against the Cleveland Browns. We're going to have to see more of the playbook. We're going to have to see more of Trevor Lawrence in order to win this game. So to me, like, yes, it was a great first win against the Panthers, but now it's almost like the real addition of what Liam Cohen's capable of will come week 2 against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, and by the way, I agree with that. This isn't really a conversation of, oh, my gosh, he's like the best ever because they won a football game over the Carolina Panthers. But I do think some of that, again, I can sit here and tell you that that's like a 50-50 deal that Santos kicks it out of the back of the end zone. Like, I don't think he has the strongest leg. It was just so obvious and easy to kick it out of bounds, so you don't even create that situation. And then the other part of it, again, is that early fourth down. Austen, do you like all these guys going for it on fourth down? Are you getting a little bit, like, worried about it? Do you think old school, new school, go zone? I mean, everybody's going for it on fourth down. I think we asked for that a long time, and now it almost feels like we might be getting too much of it where guys just won't take points.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like, how do I feel about it? I think every situation is different because you know how I feel about analytics and relying on guys with computers to dictate what you're play calling. I think in terms of game flow, I think in terms of what you have on your roster, I think in terms of how your team is playing should dictate whether you go for it on fourth and short. And last night, I don't think they should have. I think they should have played it safer. But I think there's some circumstances where maybe you're really feeling yourselves, maybe your offensive line's blocking well, where you can go for it. I just think every situation's different. And you shouldn't rely on a computer program or somebody in the booth saying, well, the percentages say go for it. Damn the percentages. The percentages don't cover everything. They don't cover the game flow. They don't cover how your players are playing. It's just one broad spectrum. And if I'm a head coach of an NFL team, I'm not going to rely on one broad spectrum to rely on whether I win or lose a football game.
Well, the reason why I want to be a little careful here, and Hamby, I'll bring you in on this one too, is I think we're going to have situations like this with Liam Coen. I think they're going to be aggressive. I think we had that with Doug Peterson. I think he was an aggressive guy. We had to beg Doug in 2022 to kick a field goal. He finally did. I always bring up that Raiders game when it comes to that. But I think we'll be second guessing Liam Coen at times this year. I think he's going to do what he did the other day. I think they're going to go by the analytics and say we have confidence in doing this. I do think game flow matters, and if you really take the Chicago one yesterday, it didn't make a lot of sense with that down in distance for a pretty much gimme 3 against a rookie quarterback who wasn't playing well to go up by a touchdown in that spot. It just didn't make a lot of sense even in that spot, and I know the play was probably there, and then Williams kind of misfired. I think that was his first incompletion, so he did have a hot hand at the time, but that part doesn't matter. I mean, if they take the points there, then who knows? We're still playing football. But again, I don't want to be I'm not going to be hypocritical on this front. We are going to come in here on a Monday and Tuesday and sit here and second-guess Liam Coen at some point this year because it's not all going to work all the time.
I mean, or at least if it doesn't always work in year one, it definitely won't after a couple of seasons because it seemed like everything Doug did in year one worked on fourth down or whether he took the points or went forward and all that. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to take the lumps sometimes, especially if you're trying to teach your team that this is their identity. That might take a while, and if you always want to be a team that converts on 4th and 1 or goes for it on 4th and 3 at the 50 or even goes for it on 4th and 1 at your own 37, I think some of that's going to be a process, and I'm obviously glad that they got the first one against the Panthers, but if Liam Coen wants that to be the team's identity, then I think he's just got to do it. And there's no really replicating it in practice or anything like that. You just got to go and do it, and I think it was off to a good start in week 1. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt there's going to be a 4th and 3 where it will be a 50-yarder for Cam Little that he decides to go for it, and maybe it bites us, maybe it doesn't. But yeah, there's always second guessing, and it won't be long before that happens for Liam Coen and Jaguars. Give it a couple of weeks, and it'll be a thing.
I would be a hypocrite if I said I'm not a fan of going for it on 4th.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Short.
I mean,
oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Austin.
Okay, there's a little delay going on here or something. I don't know. It's crazy. So I would be a hypocrite if I said I wasn't a fan of going for it on 4th and short because I celebrate Dan Campbell and what he did last year, even though a lot of people want to scrutinize it because I think when you go for it on 4th and short, it shows that you have faith in your players. And if you remember, even when it didn't work out for Dan Campbell, I think that was the 49ers game either last year or 2 years ago. Jared Goff said we want to be in that position. We want the ball in our hands when the game's on the line, and we want to make it right. Right. So I think there's something to be said that analytics doesn't cover in terms of getting the support of your players by going for it. The only issue I have with it here in Jacksonville is, have you shown the capabilities, if you don't get it, to rebound on defense and stop your opponents? And we haven't seen that yet. Now, we saw a great defensive performance the first week, but I need to see more to be comfortable with it. And if you have these coaches right now in the NFL that are keep going for it on fourth down and not converting and losing football games, well, then guess what? 3 years from now, the analytics will say, okay, it's 4th and 1, better punt it, right? Like that's how the analytics work. So you keep saying, okay, we got to go for it. Well, if you keep failing, the analytics are going to change the tone and be like, okay, don't go for it here. So now 4 years from now, we're going to be talking about how, just go for it. Why are you punting it? Just go for it. Like that's what analytics are, and that's why I can't come around with them all the time.
Yeah, I think 9 out of 10 times you're going to get your players back for going for it and being aggressive. That's belief in you and everything else. So I think you're right there. I think that's a good point, actually. If they start, the numbers will shift, right? The trend will shift if they're not able to convert on some of these and the percentages go down. A little bit remind me of the kicker last year. The kicker in the first half of last year were like, oh my gosh, I got to shrink the goalpost. They're making everything. They're kicking them from deep. They're 100%. Like, it didn't seem like anybody was missing kicks. If you go to the back half of last year, I think that started to change. I think kickers started to miss kicks for whatever reason throughout the course of the season. You didn't feel like it was as automatic. I wonder if we do see that either through a season or in the next couple of years with this go zone stuff and the analytics that are being said. One more thought, guys, on last night's game, at least for now, for me, is I'm not trying to – I like Kevin O'Connell a lot. I think he had a really good second half. I thought he managed things poorly in the late end of the first half, quite frankly. But he really figured it out. They come back and they get J.J. McCarthy going. But this whole deal where they return the kick at the end of the game and he's, like, getting praise for great coaching for telling him to come out of the end zone, like, I don't understand that. Like, why wouldn't you have just said that before the special teams play? If he kicks it to you, you can catch it in the end zone, catch it, and come out. Like, that was like a given, right?
I thought so, but I think it's just, it's a new rule, so people are still getting accustomed to everything in terms of how the kickoffs look. So maybe you want to prop a guy up a little more, but yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, I just didn't think it needed the whole player to look at the coach while he's catching the ball. Should I bring this out? It's like, hey, dude, if you catch it in the end zone, bring it out. We want time running off the clock. Like, simple as that. You don't need to look at me. Just go do it. And it's just funny that it's going around like, oh, this is awesome coaching. Look what happened here. It's like, it didn't need to be like that. It was pretty simple. I actually thought the whole gymnastics of that end of the game was fascinating because if Caleb Williams doesn't go out of bounds, they get an extra play on the other side anyway. They don't bring up all these different situations. Were you going to kick? Were you going to go for the touchdown? There were a lot of different situations that presented itself at the end of that football game that was probably good practice for both sides and the league as well. Maybe part of the situational masters meeting on Friday for Liam Coen. Let's take a time out. We are live up at Maason's Famous Lobster Rolls. Maason'sLobster.com. Check out the locations here in Fernandina Beach and also down in the town center. We were there a few weeks ago. That's where Ronan had his first lobster roll. I won't bring him one today. It's a long drive back, and I know he's got school. Unless you want me to, maybe I can bring him one. He probably would like that, even though he's in the middle of school, probably, right?
Oh, yeah. He's showing in school right now. He's going to enjoy his peanut butter jelly sandwich, and, yeah, we'll just go from there.
Good idea. 11 o'clock around the corner. Hey, do we have to be a little bit careful of getting overhyped in Jacksonville off this win, or does everybody have it in perspective? Talk a little bit about that. Hear from Liam Coen on Monday, what he said about Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. And it was good to have Trayvon Walker on the show last night at String Sports Brewery in Jacks Beach for Jags Report Live. He was fantastic. And on Thursday, still working on a guest, might have a big one on Jaguars All Access. They're all big at String Sports Brewery. That one in Springfield. Both shows on Fox 30 and on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 network.
Most of us know how to throw. but you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
For the game day hustle and every day in between, juggling my show Jag Social to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Welcome inside the Armor Guard exterior and gutter helmet showroom. There's a lot going on, like glass exteriors, replacement windows, and down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters, and to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why Gutter Helmet?
Well, Gutter Helmet is truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground, the water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of filters, which requires maintenance. With Gutter Helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter Helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Well, my screen's a little bit frozen, so if we're seeing something, I can't see it. So you guys can take me through that, but we're back here in Fernandina Beach. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, and Jason Hamby as we take the show on the road today. And did we see anything there, Austin? Did I miss something?
Yep, it was the wagers over the weekend. We all made $0 except Jason Hamby, who made I think 20 or 30. What was it, 30-something?
It was about $30.
$30.
Is that all he made? That's all you made?
I was the only one who made a cent.
That's what we've been showcasing the past 2 days here on the show. I know, isn't it crazy?
Oh, if you had to hit a bet, you would have won at show 2.
Hey, I've been hitting bets. I've been asking for
not
them.
you.
Well, I mean, the way you were
Brent.
kind of.
I mean, if
Yeah,
you want me to start
I
asking for
probably
my
would have been
bets.
bragging about it, although I've kind of taken it easy on the picks. But
Yeah, Brent, I mean, at some
think,
point, we're going to need you on the board,
by the
man.
way, I thought the way Hamby was. Yeah, I got to get on the board. I think the way Hamby was talking about it, though, he would have won like $150 or something off like a big parlay or like one of those Stanton whoever home runs that you had hit earlier before we even started keeping track of it. I do have to get on the board. I can't seem to get on the board, but I will. I'm confident that I will. I mean, self-inflicted wounds, keep shooting myself in the foot. Just all the cliches going on right now early in the season. Just give me a Mike McDaniel news conference right now, and that's me on the weekend wagers.
I like that.
Did you see what Rex Ryan said?
I did.
So we have the audio. I mean, I was going to bring it back in. This is my second video, but I mean, Hamby, you want to play it quick?
Yeah, here we go.
What the hell is he talking about? Maybe he's on a different level, McGenius guy, whatever the hell he is, nerd boy. But anyway, their team has no respect for the coach. They play like that. They're like, come on, man, get us a dang guy in here. Where's the physicality of this team? What did you say?
They're soft. They're soft.
They're soft. I'm with
soft.
you on that. Every part of their football team. They have tons of talent on this team. Daniel, we were talking, that's why you picked them to win? Because they have tons of talent. Yeah. They don't play with any passion or any smoke to them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I do agree with Rex Ryan. I don't agree how he kind of went about it, calling him like a nerd. I mean, dude, come on. I feel like there's like a brotherhood of coaches where you have to show at least a little respect, right? And I get it's Rex Ryan's gimmick to be a little more outspoken. I'm actually a really big fan of Rex Ryan, man. But I don't know. That's if you're on, I don't know. To me, it's more like something you'd see on Barstool than actually like an ESPN show. But maybe that's where it's going now. So go ahead and talk your smack and everything, because to be honest, I don't think he's worried about Mike McDaniel meeting him in the parking lot and do anything to him. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do think guys like this, guys like Rex Ryan, it's not the first. He's been on TV now for a while. I think Ryan Clark has a little bit of this to me as well. With some of the things, I think they are like, hey, we want you to say something outlandish. Like, we want you to use this personality, and then they can't reel it in. Sometimes it goes a little bit far. Now, is this the worst thing ever said? I mean, probably not, but I kind of agree with you, Austin. I mean, there's a fraternity here. I don't like hearing it. It hits your ears a little bit different when you do have other coaches doing that to other coaches. And listen, Rex Ryan was a decent coach in the NFL. It's not like he's Bill Belichick. Like, he doesn't sit there and get to say, I know everything. Things didn't always work out well for Rex Ryan as well. And, hey, bottom line is, for me, I thought the Mike McDaniel thing had ended pretty much at the second half of last year. I thought it was over. I was a little surprised they stayed with him, and now it looks like a pretty much a disaster. For how many reasons, I don't know. They have shed some of their talent as well, and I think they missed the window with the Miami Dolphins. And now if you get this Tua who doesn't play well, now you've got even bigger problems. If you get Tyreek Hill kind of having a fit on the sidelines, that will be even bigger problems. Now there's some rumors flying around that the Chiefs might be, back in the looking for a guy like Tyreek Hill. They could use some help. Who knows? But, I think it's kind of over in Miami. Everybody talking about Billy Napier and over at Florida. You kind of know it already. Don't we kind of know it already? It feels like it's over for Mike McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins, Austin.
Oh, yeah. It's absolutely over because you paid your quarterback. He's not producing like he's supposed to. Tyreek Hill's not happy. Your defense is porous. They're not playing tough. You can't win in cold weather. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and hammer on Mike McDaniel because I think for a while we were praising him. I mean, look he gave Tua Tagovailoa, he had the most passing yards in one season. Okay? So, that means something too. But nobody really wanted to praise Mike McDaniel that year. Nobody wanted to say, wow, his offense is really good. No, it was all, well, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Jalen Waddle. Of course you did. Okay, but you still need a quarterback to go out there and sling the rock. So, I think Mike McDaniel is a fantastic play designer and a pretty good play caller. I just don't think he's a good motivator or leader of men. And that's okay. Not everybody is, right? If he gets Cam this year, I think he'll be at the forefront of an offensive coordinator gig. I think every team would want Mike McDaniel to come to coach for them. So I just think he's good at what he knows, which is calling plays, but not necessarily leading a locker room.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, Austin, because, I think you're right on those fronts, on many of those fronts. But I also think the reason we liked McDaniel from an outside standpoint is it was a breath of fresh air in the NFL. You get all these hard-nosed, oh, my gosh, this is the most, hardest thing ever is to win football games, and it's the, you got to sleep on a cot and be there 18 hours a day, and all these old school coaches, like that football's got to be done a certain way, and then you get a guy like McDaniel coming in. This is what McVay and the Rams did too. It felt a little bit different. It was a different vibe. So in many respects, I kind of liked seeing the freshness of it, and it did work for them high-flying offense and Tua and Tyreek Hill and Waddle and everything they were doing, offensively scoring 30 points a game. They just missed the window of opportunity to actually make a run. And now it's gone a little bit backwards, in my opinion, and it didn't have sustainability in Miami with Mike McDaniel for whatever reason, and I do think it's over. But I also think it kind of opens the door for this new wave of younger coaches to kind of come into the league and kind of think of, what we're doing here in Jacksonville. Not to say that it's Mike McDaniel-esque, it's more McVay-esque, but it isn't traditional Tom Coughlin or Bill Belichick or those guys either. So I think there's this interesting mix right now across buildings in the National Football League that has this blend, either old school or new school, and some of them probably have a blend of both.
No, I agree with you. But, to me, Sean McVay and Mike McDaniel, while they are, offensive gurus and offensive geniuses, there's a different sense of demeanor between a Sean McVay and a Mike McDaniel. Sean McVay is like a John Gruden clone. The way that he talks, his inflections, it's Sean Gruden. He's a good-looking dude. He's young and everything, right? He's got, the supermodel girlfriend or whatever, or the wife. So, he's doing really good for himself. But it's essentially a young John Gruden. Mike McDaniel is more of, the liberal arts teacher who's also a really good play designer, but, can you really motivate people? And once again, if you're drawing the X's and O's, and this is more geared towards the offensive-minded coach I'm talking to now. If you draw the X's and O's and you guys are winning, all right, cool. Sounds great. We're having fun, right? But do you know how to lose? Do you know when it's not going good? Do you know when you're getting your asses kicked by the Indianapolis Colts? Can you fire guys up? Can you say this is unacceptable? I don't think a guy like Mike McDaniel can necessarily do that. I just don't think that's in his DNA. Once again, I'm not trying to harp on him. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I think he's a great play designer. I just don't think when it goes south, when you're losing football games, can you rally a team behind you? And I think a lot of the offensive-minded coaches, we saw it with Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona. I think a lot of offensive-minded coaches sometimes maybe have problems with that compared to a defensive-minded coach where it's all about grit and toughness and all this stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's a lot to that. What's the mystery here for me, Austin, in all of this is a guy like Nick Sirianni. Like, why has this been able to work when it looked like it was going off the rails a couple of different times with Philadelphia? And Sirianni is really, like, again, very different than McVay and even McDaniel, but his antics on the sideline is just whole personality part. It's really wild to me, the dynamic that he looks like comes across from opening presser to even sideline stuff where I've been like before, this is goofy, and then has the ability to still relate to players, motivate players, get that toughness, all of that. Like, he's as unique of a package to me from the outside looking in as I can remember in the NFL making it work. And I know they're super talented, but you still have to make it work.
No, you still have to make it work, but, like, see, I don't think Sirianni is that surprising because, to me, Sirianni has the Dan Campbell effect in him, where it's us against the world. Like, Nick Sirianni is a very polarizing character of how he presents himself, his demeanor on the sidelines, sometimes his hard-headedness of going for it on fourth and whatever with the tush-push against, a Jacksonville Jaguars team that stopped them how many times in a row. Like, there is some egotistical stuff there with Sirianni, but his players love playing for him because he's built up a locker room where it's like either they love us or they hate us. Who really gives a crap? Like, we're in this together, and that's what I feel like with Sirianni. I remember when they interviewed Saquon Barkley and they asked, like, what was it like going from New York to Philadelphia and Sirianni, and he goes, Sirianni gets a bad rap because of how he acts maybe on the sidelines, what people see, but what they don't see is how he can rally a team together, and that's what he did. So I understand, like, coaches can come across a certain way on the sidelines or in press conferences, but you don't see the behind the scenes, the behind the closed doors of just what a team means to that coach. And I think Sirianni has done a great job of rallying those guys in Philly and getting the best out of them.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with you there. I think he has. In fact, I would say somewhat surprisingly. I think it's been a surprising thing in many respects based on, again, the total just perception for me. We're not there. We're not in the building. I don't know him, and we judge from afar, and so I'm a little bit surprised. It kind of, I just said this on social media, and I think you got a bunch of candidates here, and never really thought of it this way. I don't think we've talked about it in this way before. Who is the most unique coach in the NFL right now? Because McDaniel is very unique, but so is McVay, and so is Andy Reid in his own right, and so is Sirianni. So who do you think about when I say kind of the most unique coach going in the NFL?
I'm still going to be with Dan Campbell because he's really the first coach that I've seen that isn't afraid to show emotion and to show his true feelings. I think in terms of being genuine and being true to yourself, I think Dan Campbell's that guy. So to me, that makes him the most unique.
Yeah, man, Hamby, I'll get your thoughts on this one too, but just in my mind now, I'm going around the league, right? The Harbaughs are some interesting characters. I think you said Campbell, Sirianni, McVay, old football coach-wise, I feel like DeMeco Ryans is that. Shanahan is that. I feel like Sean Payton is that. Steichen has a little bit of that in him, in my opinion. Vrabel has that. Like, that seems a little – Glenn now has that. So who is it for you, Hamby?
Well, I mean, I kind of want to just take Jonathan Gannon because of the opening team meeting that he had. That it still rings in my head like at least once a week. But I haven't heard anything from him in like a year, so I guess I can't take him. In that case, go ahead and give me I think McVay is I don't know if he's weird. He seems like a regular guy, but I think he's one of the first to really kind of be this new wave of head coach that we've seen that includes Coach Coen is the offensive nerd. I think that's what he started. And I think McDaniel's from that. I think, Kellen Moore is kind of like that, even though Kellen Moore did play. And Cohen's from that as well. Canales too, maybe. It's the offensive kind of mastermind that you wouldn't see as a master motivator in any sense of the word, but they're still very successful.
So I'm going to say one more as well here, and I'm going to say Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
Simply because if you look at Dan Quinn's resume, you think a certain way of how he would coach a team, but then you watch the press conferences, you watch him on the sidelines, you watch him wearing a backwards hat like he's 10 years old.
Facts.
And it's like, oh, okay, so this guy's hard-nosed, old-school, defensive-minded coach, but he's actually like kind of that cool substitute teacher that you can't wait to see because, like, you know, you're not going to do a lot of homework and everything, and they're going to kind of tell you some cool stories. That, to me, is who Dan Quinn is. So I think Dan Quinn fits that mold, too, as definitely a unique guy where you don't judge a book by its resume and its cover, because once you get to know him, it's like, huh, I guess it kind of does make sense why Washington's, you know, a pretty solid team right now.
Yeah, that's a good call, man. I like that. And you do that's an interesting vibe coming from Dan Quinn. I'm going to throw one more out here, guys, that I think he might have been, again, one of the people that helped pave the way for unique personalities in the sport of football. Even though I think we've always had them to some degree, I just feel like we just mentioned a bunch of them, and I'm not sure we've had this many different personalities and styles. Feels like it's usually a cookie-cutter position in sports in general, baseball, hockey, basketball, whatever. But I think Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's a pretty interesting guy, right? I mean, Carroll is known for building a great culture. He's a player's coach, but he's a defensive guy, old school guy, can get in, like, even at 72 years old, I think he is right now. You know, he's different. He does not. I think he's the blend. I think to me he's the perfect blend of. You can tell. You could really see him getting after people because probably we've seen video. We've seen him stern. We've seen him look pissed off, all those things. And then we've also he feels like this grandpa figure sometimes or the fun uncle, you know, in the family or whatever it is that seems like it would be fun to be on his football team. So I think Pete Carroll kind of echoes it a little different, maybe more Dan Quinn style, who you brought up. I mean, Dan Quinn might have a little Pete Carroll in him.
No, I mean, I would definitely agree with that. And, like, you know, I was getting ready to sign with the Seattle Seahawks, and I was extremely excited because at that time their defense was still humming. Pete Carroll was still doing his thing. And it was an environment that I wanted to be a part of because, like, Pete Carroll's the classic definition of busting your ass, being physical, but having fun and being yourself doing it, right? And I think his personality, his demeanor reflects that. You know, I mean, this guy will run a hard-ass training camp, then all of a sudden here's, you know, Will Ferrell, you know, doing a skit for the team with him, right? It's just it's putting the hard work in then and then reaping those benefits and having fun with it. And I think that's the personification of a Pete Carroll. And, yeah, I think that is a little more of a rarity now because I think it's so hard to mix that grit and the old-school demeanor but still have the respect from your players to be genuine and to get, you know, and to have fun as well. Because usually, like, you know, if, for instance, if you're Joe Coen, right, and you're a defensive coordinator or you're a head coach one day, you're Joe Coen, and you're yelling and you're cussing and everything, and then all of a sudden you want to put the script and be like, all right, here's Will Ferrell. It's like, well, is this a trick? This doesn't seem right? Like, something's afoot here. But with Pete Carroll, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think you're right. Hey, one other note. You mentioned we just kind of married that together organically with Quinn and Carroll. No surprise. I mean, Quinn was there in Seattle with Pete Carroll, so it probably has some of that nature that rubbed off on him now as he is head coach in the National Football League with the Atlanta Falcons and then with Washington Commanders. You know, I'm going to go off on another tangent, not planned, because you just said something, and I asked Trayvon Walker this last night. But you just said you kind of be who you are, right? And I know you're a big fan of that regardless. And so you said that about the Seattle organization. I'm sure other organizations have tried to do that. But we're hearing that all the time in Jacksonville. Like, we haven't heard that before. Like, that has not been something that's been put on a wall, on a T-shirt, on a microphone all the time. We just haven't heard that phrasing. I don't think James Gladstone and Liam Coen and company came up with it. I think you just referenced another organization that preach that too. But my question to Trayvon, and I guess my question to you, is of all the things that have been quoted and said and messaged in Jacksonville, what would resonate with you as a player the most? From, we heard Dewey say, "We above me." We heard from details to physicality to, just be who you are. I mean, you name it. We've got all the stuff, right? Intangibly rich. I mean, we've got all these things over the last 6 months. With this group as a player, Austen, what would resonate with you the most?
I mean, to me, hands down, not even up for debate for me, it would be who you are. Because, and I think I've shared this before on the old show, it took me a while to find my ground in the NFL and to try to figure out who I was supposed to be. And what I mean by that is this. The person that you see, these past couple years on this radio show, like, this is who I am, okay? And that's who I was, essentially, that's who I tried to be when I first got to the NFL. The problem, though, with having that laid-back demeanor is that it didn't rub everybody the right way. And I'm not trying to throw anybody underneath the bus or anything, or because I had great coaches. But a classic example would be my first couple weeks here in Jacksonville. I'm in the building, right? And I'm walking to lunch. And Joe Cullen's walking out of lunch. So Joe Cullen passed me and says, "Hey, we're going to meet here in about 20 minutes. And I turn around and I go, "Okay, dude, sounds good. We'll see you then." Because that's what I would say. That's who I am. I call people dude. I call people man. It is what it is. Deal with it, right? Well, Mel Tucker, Coach Tuck, hears this. And he goes, "What did you just say?" And I go, "Okay, dude, I'll see you in 20 minutes. And he goes, "That's not how we talk." He's like, "You refer to him as sir. Like, that's your coach." I go, "Oh, okay, sorry." And I was kind of just taken back by it. So then I'm like, okay, I guess I got to call people sir now. So I went through my first year playing in the league, having to call everybody sir, even though I didn't feel comfortable doing it because I wasn't accustomed to it. And I get it's a sign of respect and everything, right? But to me, the sign of respect was calling people dude or man because that means I look at you like I'm a friend, right? Like we're on the same level. So if I call you a dude or hey man, that's me trying to be respectful. And that didn't fly in that building, right? So I had to learn how to change up my demeanor and change up how I address people. So that's an example right there where I feel like I couldn't be myself because there was a construct that I had to fall in line with that I didn't. So then now instead of worrying about my plays and everything of having to go through the defensive calls, I'm worried about, okay, don't call this guy man, don't call this dude. It's always sir. So I spent the first year and a half of my career learning how to play in the NFL, but also, I guess, learning how to be a Jacksonville Jaguar, if that makes sense. So I think when Liam Coen comes in and says, just be you, be yourself, that's a breath of fresh air, Brent, because now you can focus more on football. Trust me, football is hard enough already as it is. It's hard enough to get through a training camp. It's hard enough to try to balance your personal life and being in that locker room. And yes, you're making a lot of money for that, so it's a great thing, right? But it's a hard gig. And not to mention the physicality that you feel from going through a training camp, going through a game. You're banged up. You're sore. Maybe your girlfriend's not happy because you don't spend enough time with her. Maybe you have kids and you don't get to see them a lot. There's a lot of things that people never talk about in terms of what an NFL player is going to experience. The last thing they should have to do is try to fit into a construct of not even being themselves because, well, hey, my coach is running things a certain way. Now, you have to keep it within reason. You can't be a distraction. You can't bring an attitude to the team. Everyone's got that line, right? And I'm not saying, all right, be a habitual line stepper. But what I'm saying and what I'm trying to echo here with Liam Coen is be yourself. Be proud of who you are. Because if you know who you are as a person, that's going to make playing on the field that much easier.
That's really well said, and it's there's so many things I want to go with, but let me just bounce back to you real quick. Did you ever fully get to where you were yourself in the NFL? Because you then bounced around, and then when you bounce around, it feels like you probably have to, at least some way, shape, or form, conform to whatever the next culture is in Kansas City, Detroit, Chicago, whatever else. Do you feel like you ever were comfortable enough, old enough, mature enough, whatever it might be, to ever get there like you are maybe today?
Yeah, so I think I really found my ground in Kansas City with Andy Reid. And that's not to say, like, because I had a position coach in Tommy Brasher who was, like, 75, almost 80 years old at the time, I think. And, like, if I'm being transparent, we didn't have a lot in common, right? And he probably wasn't the biggest fan of me because, once again, of just, of who I am. But, like, I remember Andy Reid came in the first day, and, like, I didn't know Andy Reid at the time, obviously, and I had, like, preconceived notions of who he was because he was so successful in Philly. So I'm like, okay, well, here comes the rule with an iron fist again because this guy obviously gets the most out of his teams. And he shows up with, like, the Tommy Bahama T-shirt. I think he was wearing flip-flops, if I'm not mistaken. The first day of training camp, he was wearing flip-flops. He walks in. He's like, hey, guys, how's it going? And I'm like, this is the guy? This is the guy that in Philly went to how many NFC championships, that played in a Super Bowl? Like, this is the guy? Like, we don't have to go over, the PowerPoint presentation and you got to bust your ass and all this stuff. It's more of just a casual, hey, and this is what he said. He's like, we have too much talent on this team not to win football games. And that was like the big speech. Like that was the big motivation. We have too much talent on this team not to win football games. I just got there, so I'm like, okay, I guess I'll take your word for it. Like, that's it. And then all of a sudden you see, like, in terms of the play design, and you see in the play calling where it's like, oh, I get it now. He doesn't have to, MF you and cuss at you and embarrass you and try to make you something that you're not. You know why? Because the guy's an offensive guru. He's an offensive genius, and he's that confident in his play calling abilities where everything else, it simply does not matter. So, like, that's where I start to feel like I could be myself in Kansas City, Brent. And then that carried over because then I was kind of a veteran in the league to Chicago, and then I got to be myself as well.
Yeah, it's cool. That's cool. I think that's the last 5 minutes, very good explanation. What comes to mind is it's when you said, like, I don't usually say dude to people, but I'll say man a lot, right? Or thanks, man, or whatever, man. I find myself saying that. I don't think I said that as much when I was younger, but I find myself saying that. And I will say that actually to, like, a boss here or somebody at the station or somebody maybe even on a sales call that we went out for or something. And I'll actually think about it in hindsight, like, should I have just said that? Like, should I have kind of said it that way? But it just kind of comes out naturally, like if you are just doing that. And then after a while, like, which I give credit to the folks here at the state. I mean, you got to – sometimes you get too casual, too loose. Like, I mean, I had something bugging me yesterday. I was in the big man's office dropping some swears and stuff. I'm like, maybe I walk out and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah. Well,
but you do appreciate when you can at least, like, either whether it's a venting thing or just kind of talk like you normally talk, so you don't have to turn it on and turn it off or whatever. But I mean, then you can. It does. I catch myself sometimes in those settings, saying, like, walking out, like, I'm not sure, like, I should have done that.
Yeah. And listen, Brent, and this kind of, let's go and bring this conversation then full circle and talk about Mike McDaniel. Because one would think that Mike McDaniel is that coach that can let you be yourself, right? This is the guy who's wearing, dunks and Air Force Ones and shades inside. Like, if you want to talk about a guy letting you be yourself, I mean, Mike McDaniel might be that. But the difference between a Mike McDaniel and, let's say, an Andy Reid, or let's say, give me another guy, or a Dan Quinn like we're talking about, is that you have to know how to lose. And I say it all the time, and I don't say it just to say it. I say it because I really believe in this. And if I was getting interviewed as an NFL head coach and I'm sitting there with, maybe a GM or an owner and everything, and they're like, what can you bring to the table? One of the very first things I'm going to say is, we're going to win football games here, but I'm telling you right now, I know how to lose. Because you have to know how to lose. And I think some guys are gifted with that and some guys aren't. Like, yeah, it's cool being yourself and everything, and it's cool saying, hey, we're going to be ourselves, and we're going to, if you want to wear a hat in the meeting, wear a hat in the meeting. Cool. What happens if you're on a 3-game losing streak? That being yourself isn't good enough anymore, is it? Now all of a sudden we got to, like, okay, well, we got to fix some things, right? So that to me is my point of, it's important to cultivate an environment where guys feel comfortable being themselves. But that's just one part of it. The other part is when it's not going so well, how do you take those guys where you told to be themselves and how do you get more out of them? And that's what makes a fantastic coach. That's what makes a great culture builder. And that's the difference between a culture builder, I feel like, and just a player's coach who's just maybe mediocre.
That's really well said again, and I think we're going to find that out in Jacksonville. I think they have to even find that out. They're new at this, and they continue to say it's coming. There was some adversity in the football game on Sunday, but you had the scoreboard and you won and all those things. Everybody wants to learn off the wins. That's great. But when that happens, how will these guys be at it? We kind of said, and you said really this last year, Doug Peterson and company didn't know how to lose at times. And you have had many examples of that around the National Football League. I think it's pretty well said. But it just hit me yesterday talking more about this because you're starting to hear players really preach some of these things that Liam Coen is expressing, and that's always good. That means they're locked in. He even said that, like that they are locked in and listening. That's a good thing. But I also wonder, okay, they're just saying it because we've heard players for years and years do this, or are they really living it? And which one really hits you the most? And Trayvon Walker's answer, by the way, was the same as yours. Trayvon's was like, hey, they just allow you to be you and just be you. And most people want to be given that freedom to just be them and not when you walk indoors have to be somebody else. So it makes a lot of sense. But can you say it and actually preach it? And it looks like right now the Jacksonville Jaguars are doing that. We're live at Maason's Famous Lobster Rolls here in Fernandina Beach. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from Liam Coen a bit more. And do we have a bit of a correction on the Brian Thomas Jr. angle of yesterday based on what Liam Coen said yesterday? We'll get to that and tell you what I mean by it coming up here on the Brent and Austin Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 Network.
Choose your own adventure. It's not just a saying, but a way of life here at Cycles of Jacksonville. And whether it's 2 wheels or 4 wheels, at Cycles of Jacksonville, a great adventure awaits. With brands like Honda, Vespa, Segway, and Triumph, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with the inventory featuring a 60,000 square foot building. If 4 wheels is more your thing, check out the largest selection of Honda Talons in the entire county. No matter what you're looking for, Cycles of Jacksonville is going to have the selection you need, all with great financing and rebates. Plus, if you're active duty military, Cycles of Jacksonville will offer you 0% financing along with great discounts for military and first responders. And when you want to get off the road and set sail, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with everything you need to get on the water. So if you're ready for a great adventure, let Cycles of Jacksonville be your guide. Located off Atlantic Boulevard or check out their website at cyclesofjacksonville.com.
How do we make Maason's famous lobster rolls? It's simple. We get up before dawn, head into the open waters of Maine, haul in our traps by hand, and send only the best straight to our restaurants, where we add warm butter or chilled mayo with a squeeze of lemon, and pile it on a toasted split-top roll, just like it's been done for nearly a century. That's the recipe for Maason's famous lobster rolls.
Thanks for meeting me here.
Okay.
You're my only lawyer friend, and I need your professional opinion.
Okay.
You see that brand new Hyundai Tucson out there?
Yeah.
That's all I paid for it. Do you know what you want?
Yeah. I think I do.
Enjoy your new car.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Deal so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
Lease a Hyundai Tucson for $259 a month, or get 2.99% APR, or get $1,750 bonus cash. Hurry in.
Year 2 is in the books for the Jacksonville Armada women's under-23 squad, taking another step forward in the Women's Premier Soccer League. Under the guidance of head coach David Goff, the girls in blue went undefeated at home for a second straight season, including a dramatic draw in the opener.
And they've left it to the death. Unbelievable stuff.
And a late winner to end the season at home.
Headed on. Here's a chance. Gianna Ramirez brings it down, still alive, takes a shot, and into the back of the net.
After fielding a younger roster in 2025 with talent from all across Northeast Florida, the future is bright for the Armada women's team. We highlight the ladies and all things Jacksonville Armada each week on Fleet and Footy on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
Grab some friends and go to a restaurant or head out for a drink and some conversation. Watch your favorite team play on the big screen. Or how about play some games? You can do all of that in one night at Best Bet. Each location has a different vibe, its own personality, like here at the original Best Bet in Orange Park. When you walk through these doors, everybody knows your name. And here in St. Augustine, it's the newest location. Play some poker. How about the table games? And don't forget about Ace's Sports Bar and Grill. And then there's the Jacksonville location right here on Monument Road. It's the biggest poker room in the state of Florida. Maybe you'll find yourself a seat right here at the final table. Best Bet, where you can have the best of times. And that makes you always go home a winner. Try any of the 3 locations, and you can always visit bestbetjax.com.
Putting your needs first. It's the backbone of how First Florida Credit Union does business. In all honesty, you might as well be speaking another language when it comes to finances. Sure, I'm good with my money, but what am I missing in the fine print? That's what led me to First Florida Credit Union. They're the perfect choice for anyone starting their financial journey because they keep finances easy. Plus, they offer financial education and resources I can trust. So I'm always growing more confident. And as a young adult, I am constantly adding more responsibilities to my plate. From a car payment to a mortgage, it all adds up. Luckily, First Florida Credit Union makes sure it adds up in all the right places and not the wrong ones by offering better rates and lower fees than traditional banks, even if you're still trying to grow your credit. Because as a member-owned institution, First Florida genuinely puts people's needs first rather than focusing on profit. So I know as my needs change, they'll be right there to help me reach my goals. Check out firstflorida.org to learn how you can benefit too.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Yep, doing the national anthem right there in New York. Well, I guess in New Jersey, technically, you would say. But how would you like being that guy? One guy gets trapped. We don't know. Hamby, do you know how this happened, by the way?
I guess he was just one of the many fans who was rolling it out.
And then somehow, like, I wish we could get a view because, trust me, I've scoured the internet. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know how this happened. And by the way, I don't know what I would do here. I mean, I guess you got to crawl off, but could you just maybe, like, lay and act like, people can't see you? I don't know what I would do. Not a good spot to be in, though, Brent.
No, I would. I think I would kind of freak out there because I just was like you just said. I think in the real time, we live in a lot of real time stuff, like you do in your world, in your athletic world. We do now, with like in our media world. Like there's just stuff happening. Last night at a show or whatever, and you just respond, or right now, or and you just try to figure it out in real time. I don't know what I would do in that spot because I think I actually would freak out. As much as I like as much as I do this for a living and I know people are watching, I don't really like that atmosphere where I would have 65,000 people watching me be on top of this flag and trying to figure it out. So, yeah, I don't know what the heck I'd do, man, but I'd probably panic and try to get off there as quick as I could. I don't know how it happened either. That's wild how it ended.
Well, Hamby has a deep dive here. Hamby, okay, let's slow down a little bit here. Because could we go back to the beginning again? Because I feel like he gets slipped up here and he gets pulled.
I don't even see him.
Oh yeah, so look in the bottom. Hang on, look in the bottom like middle right now. Boom.
Oh, I see him.
So okay, go back one more time. Was he T-bowing when this happened? What happened here? I mean, this guy's he should have been there in the first place.
Yeah, he's messed up from the stump.
Okay, so here's what happened, I think. I think part of the flag got caught, and he tried to run out there in the middle of it to try to, like, unravel it. And then in doing so, the opposite side of the field didn't know he was obviously trying to unravel it, and they started pulling the flag, and then he just got pulled.
Man, he is right there in the middle.
And now he's in the middle, yeah.
It's a long way from home, buddy.
That is a long way from home.
Long way from home.
I mean, these cars don't run, but these cars can
that's
roll,
pretty
I guess.
interesting. And yes, they can. We had our own kind of issue, snafu here in Jacksonville for the national anthem. Did you see the mic didn't work? It cut out. And the stadium had to impromptu at the Jags game, little a cappella version of the Star Spangled Banner on Sunday in the football game.
I didn't even hear about that, but like, listen, I understand sometimes, mechanical things can happen, but I mean, if it's the a cappella version of the whole stadium singing, like that's kind of a cool unity thing. Did you guys see the national anthem for the Brazil game?
No. Oh,
I probably should have brought this to everyone's attention in the chat. I completely forgot to do it. Hamby, if you can find it later on. Let's just say, and listen, a man of my own heart, there was a saxophone in it, right? So I was pumped with that.
You want the sound?
If we can get the sound, that would be fantastic, Hamby.
All right, I'll have it in a second.
Yep. So just to kind of set the scene real quick, there was a saxophone, and then there was drums as well. I can't really hear it, Hamby. Maybe the people at home can, but I can't hear anything.
Yeah, give me 1 more second.
Okay, no problem.
This is before the Chiefs game?
This is the Chiefs-Chargers game, correct.
Okay. All right, here.
This is on, YouTube making their debut and everything. We got Mr. Beast and Kai Cenat maybe, or iShow, whatever. All those types, trying to ruin football. But anyways, you got a
Castella!
Nope, hang on. Okay, well, Hamby, this obviously isn't the national anthem now, is it?
Whoops.
Hamby.
Well,
I'm going to need a saxophone and a drum.
Okay.
Now, I was already saying, Brent, go ahead and just take 5 minutes off real quick. Let me go get to the bottom of this. I said there was a saxophone and a drum. Now, you bring this beautiful, lovely lady up here, right? And immediately I'm like, okay, well, this probably isn't it. And then at what point did you think it wasn't the national anthem? For the U.S. national anthem, Hamby?
Here we go.
Can we get the sound?
No, it's not available. YouTube has exclusive rights, I'm guessing.
Hey, I think Twitter has all the rights. Let's try there next time, It's all good, though.
Hold on.
Brent, I don't know why when you go away, and I feel like I'm Mike McDaniel. Okay, I don't know how to control a team. I don't know what to do. I'm wearing some cool shoes, and that's about it. That's all I got going for me. Got a little swag, but I'm sure I'm getting lambasted in the comments. Getting lambasted on social media.
You got shoes on?
Oh, Brent, you know I'm rocking these. I'm rocking the purple Nike Deftone editions. Don't worry about it. New album just dropped, by the way. Hamby, where are we at with the audio?
Almost.
I bet.
Almost. They're killing time on shoes. Should I show my Hey Dudes as well?
Yeah,
I've seen those shoes on you, by the way. You've worn those. You like those. You can rock them pretty well.
People are starting to murmur a little bit, right? This guy's been rocking Vans for his whole life. All of a sudden, he's switching it up a little bit. Okay, here we go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Take that bass line out for a walk, though, huh?
Ooh, a little flat. Oh, wow.
So I'm going to be honest. I'm not mad at the saxophone. Shout out to tenors out there. I'm not mad at the saxophone. But Francis Scott Key, during the war of whatever it was, 1812, looking out his window, did not envision a stupid bass line getting taken out for a walk in Brazil to carry home the national anthem. Like, the whole bass line thing was unnecessary. And then not only do you take it out for a walk, but then you bring out the bow like you're in an orchestra, and then you start just doing it was so unnecessary. It didn't have to happen. Just have the saxophone next time. Don't have the stand-up bass for no reason. Hamby, you agree with that?
I'm 100%
You're the
agreeing.
artist. Yeah.
I'm 100% agreeing.
You're the artist.
He is.
Here's the only thing I can tell. I would not be breaking down the bass line, the sax, the whatever, not musically inclined. I'm not doing that. But the fact that the reason I like doing this show is because of just what happened. Because if we create a bingo card, which we've talked about doing, there's no way in hell you had Francis Scott Key being mentioned here on the show on a Tuesday in September.
Oh, well, hang on. Do you know why? I know a lot about Francis Scott Key. There's a story behind this.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
And maybe I never shared this because maybe I wasn't on the show during the time. Maybe I was, though. So when it was the whole Colin Kaepernick stuff, right? And he took the knee and everything. And that was the polarizing topic, not only around sports, but around pop culture in general. I sat in a sauna one time, and I had a guy who knew I was a football player come up to me and be like, I can't believe what Colin Kaepernick is doing all this stuff. And you know me, man. I'm not trying to get political, especially in the sauna where I'm a little exposed. And the guy keeps going like, man, like you guys make so much money, and how dare Colin Kaepernick, all this stuff. It's the most important song in the world, in the country. I don't want to paraphrase. He said it was the most important song in our country's history. And I turned to him and I go, yeah, that may be true. And I go, just out of curiosity, if it's that important, who wrote it? And the guy looks at me and he goes, I don't know. That's not important. I go, if it's that important of a song to you, and it's that important of a song to our country, you're not going to have enough respect to know who wrote that said song? Crickets. Got up and walked out. And guess what? I had another 10 minutes of just steaming in that sauna, right? But that was my point, where everybody made such a big deal of that moment. Everybody made such a big deal of that moment, of Colin Kaepernick taking the knee and everything in the national anthem. And I get it. The national anthem is a very important piece of our history, and I'm all for playing it before the games. I think it's a great thing, whether it's high school, whether it's professional. I'm all for the national anthem. But if you're going to live and die on a hill where it's the most important thing in our country's history, and you're going to chastise players back in the day for taking a knee and everything, well, then you better have enough respect for that said national anthem to do a little history of where it came from and who wrote it. End of TED Talk.
No problem.
Yeah, got a very good TED Talk. By the way, how many towel stories do you have?
Seriously.
Oh, too many, man. Too many, Brent. I love how there's a delay.
That's two in like 4 days here on the show.
Oh, Brent, dude, if you want to open up like a penthouse forum, I got about 20 in the chamber whenever you're ready. You just let me know.
Okay, we'll work on that. In the meantime, let's switch back to some football chatter. And I want to just hear from Liam Coen talking on Monday. I thought he said a few things. We're going to bring a couple of them up in the noon hour as well. And we have him on Maason Smith, guys. I just want to give you an update and what this sounds like to you guys on a Maason Smith front, because it was a topic yesterday a bit that he was inactive. Here's the explanation when asked about Maason Smith.
Yeah, I think it came down to lack of reps and opportunities throughout the training camp. Did feel like we had some guys that have been able to reduce down a little bit with Smoot and Agba and Austin Johnson that have played a lot. I think it's just going to take, I'm not going to say how long, I don't know. We want to get him out there and want to get him going. It's a guy that we have confidence moving forward with, that we want to, get into the fold. It was just a matter of, I don't want to say numbers, but with the lack of sample size that we had going into week one, with having to try to create numbers for the active roster, is kind of just how it played out. We fully expect him to continue to grow, continue to go in the right direction, and help us contribute.
Yeah, so let me just go ahead and
so it's interesting to me there's a lot going on, or there's a lot going on right there. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like, let me just go ahead and paraphrase it real quick. We haven't seen enough of him because he's been hurt. We like him, but we don't trust him quite yet, and we'd rather go with Eric Armstead, who has a little more experience. Like, that to me is all you got from it, you know? Now, I'm sure Trent Baalke's at home listening, like, put him in, please give me an opportunity because I need something to hang on to. But besides that, like, Maason Smith will be in there one day. It's just you have to get him his reps. Brent, am I wrong about that, by the way? Is Trent Baalke not at home right now thinking, man, we need Maason Smith in there? Please.
Well, he needs Maason Smith in there, and he also needs Eric Armstead to play well too. So I think he wants both of those guys playing. But I do think because Saunders and Johnson, and they've got other veteran guys, they don't need to rush this along. But I just thought the one thing he almost kind of went and said it. Now, he didn't say it, but if we're really picking at words here, he kind of indicated that this might not be a see you Sunday type of thing. This could be even a little bit more down the road. And then there's one other thing here just to finish this quick thought, because we don't know much. I don't think it's a major deal right now and at all, but I would like to see Maason play sooner rather than later. But because they trade Bigsby, Austin, is there potential now for Maason, if it was anything to do with potential numbers? Now you don't have 4 running backs up. You can maybe get even Maason Smith up this week, go a little bit heavier on the defensive front.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point, and you would hope so, right? Or if you want to, sign another veteran interior defensive lineman, you've done a couple of, we have Colin Sanders, you have Austin Johnson, but I said it to start out Monday, and I'm going to say it again. I don't care what the PFF numbers say. Like, in terms of what I think was the lowest graded in my eyes from what I saw, I think it was the interior defensive line, and I think that still needs to be addressed a little bit. So if you want to keep, rolling out with the same guys and hopefully it gets better in terms of coaching, in terms of scheme, okay, so be it. But right now, I think interior defensive line, in terms of what you look at this team and say where they could use some help still, it's defensive tackle, it's 3 technique, and it could be nose as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I think most people would agree. Okay, noon hour around the corner. Just want to give everybody a heads up. We're inside 2 weeks now to our Action Sports Shacks Dream 18 golf tournament. You can see all the information at actionsportshacks.com. It's coming up at Southampton on September 22nd at 8:30 in the morning. Can't wait to have another good day out there, presented by Cadillac and also Access Golf. And so we appreciate everybody for their support as we raise money for North Florida Junior Golf Foundation and St. Michael Soldiers. And a couple of things to mention, maybe you can get involved with, even if you're not participating in the tournament, as we get a little closer. Keep an eye on some good silent auction items, like the Omni Hotel stay for 2 nights up here in Omni Amelia Island. So we're not far from it. 2-night stay at the newly designed Oak Marsh Golf Course as well. It's $7 million plus in renovation and reopened in May this year. So this is a chance to go play there if you're a golf fan with our silent auction. It's a 2-night stay with a little golf included in all of that. Just one of the many silent auction items we'll have at the Action Sports Shacks Dream 18 golf tournament. When we come back, an hour to go, we'll recycle some of the top headlines, which I think you know what it is, around the Tank Bigsby story. Hear a little bit more from Liam Coen. I want to talk some Brian Thomas Jr. because Liam Coen said some things yesterday that I wondered if it changed Austin's view or anybody's view on what we were talking about a little bit yesterday. We'll get to that. Still to come here on the Brent and Austin Show on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 Network, live from Fernandina Beach and Mason's famous lobster rolls.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. And most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
If you look good, you feel good, and the medical professionals here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics are here to make you feel your best. I'm on camera every week, and I have a confession to make. I'm not always confident in my appearance. Can you see my dark circles? Is my makeup highlighting my fine lines instead of covering them up? I question it all. So when I found out about the wide variety of procedures here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics, I knew help was just one appointment away. Medical Director Dr. Megan Deacon-Casey and her board-certified physicians have been using the latest in cutting-edge technology for the last 10 years, giving men and women their personal confidence boost. From Botox, fillers, Morpheus 8, and so much more. The hardest part was figuring out what I needed. Thankfully, the medical team walked me through what would work best for me through a free consultation. Come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
Baker's Sports. It's a hometown business filled with hometown people trying to make you feel right at home.
Chris Conley, Jacksonville University.
Walker Wright, class of 2018, West Nassau High School.
Michael Young, Fletcher High School.
Baker's Sports started in a grassroots way and now outfits much of the Southeast.
Tony Mazzio, Sandwood High School, class of 2002.
High school sports, travel sports, youth sports of all kinds. They are a one-stop shop carrying Nike, Adidas, Under Armour brands, and more.
Vincent Caldes, Oak Leaf High School.
Samuel Coffrin, Paxton School for Advanced Studies.
Whether it's sports teams on the field or it's your team in the workplace, like our Action Sports Jacks team, and community events like the Dream 18 Golf Tournament, and many others.
Cole Tilley, Hilliard High School. Reagan Webb, Eagles View Academy.
Look good, feel good, play good with Baker Sports. Custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team at bakersport.com.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
This has been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax PAL.
Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
It's still one of the great mysteries of the opening week of the season. I know the Cleveland defense is good, but Joe Burrow with 113 yards passing the football. He started out again 7 for 9 for like 74 yards in the first 15, 20 minutes of that game, and hardly threw for another thing. I mean, is that another slow start for the Bengals? I know they got away with the win. They really got away with the win. Is it because they're going to light it up and come out hot on Sunday against the Jags? Is it just Cleveland's defense is that good? I'm not going to sit here and be – I know you guys love Burrow, so I'm not going to be I'll wait till after this weekend before I say anything bad about Burrow because I don't want it to be used against me in case he goes for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns.
There we go. Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, and we saw this in the preseason as well, I think the one thing that you could all predicted, and this is why I lost a lot of my bets over the weekend, for the show, was because I felt like Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, their offense, it was a well-oiled machine. And regardless of what kind of defense you faced, they had way too much talent. They have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They're going to be successful. But many times what we fail to neglect that it's not always about the skilled players. It's about the offensive line as well. And their offensive line, at least against Cleveland, was porous. Now, they didn't give up a lot of sacks per se in terms of what the box score is going to say, but once again, take into account pressures, take into account the inability to run the football, and that kind of tells more of the story of the Cleveland Browns versus Cincinnati Bengals. Now, if I'm Coach Campanelli and everything, because I did praise him for how he handled the Bryce Young situation and how you essentially blitzed him and you said, okay, if you want to beat us, Carolina, it's going to be on Bryce Young's arm and nothing else. Well, he failed. You can't do the same thing with Joe Burrow. So we'll have the whole week to talk about this, Brent, and everything, but I think we're going to see a lot more in terms of maybe zone coverages, a lot more in terms of dropping back a little bit and maybe sending 4 and sometimes sending 5. But this game is the game I'm looking at Josh Hines-Allen. I'm looking at Trayvon Walker because the tackles are beatable straight up. Not having to implement games and twists and blitzes and everything. The tackles are ripe for the picking. So this is going to be a game of the defensive line where can you generate pressure even if you aren't going to send 5 or 6 guys per series here.
Yeah, and I think the Bengals have a guard out as well. So in this football game, so yeah, I think you're going to have to do some of those things. How they match up. Just a real quick thought on the Cincinnati game. How do you think the Jags offense matches up with what they are now trying to do with their new look defense? Did you see enough of it? I don't know how much you watch against Cleveland, so I don't put you on the spot here. We got plenty of time, like you said, to dissect it, but will they be able to run the football, do you think? Will it have to be more of an aerial attack to kind of keep up with potentially Burrow? Because if you circle this game, if you talk about it a month ago, 2 months ago, you're like, okay, this is one where you're going to have to light up the scoreboard a bit, right? I mean, you're going to have to score 27 points, 30 points to beat the Bengals, you would think. Or do you play it almost the opposite, control the clock, try to pound the rock, see if you can get another big running day?
Yeah, I mean, Brent, it's so hard to say, right? Because do you feel confident right now based off of what we know in this team from previous years? Like, do you want to go toe-to-toe and serve for serve with this Bengals offense? Probably not. Like I get it. There's a lot to like. There's Travis Hunter, right? Hopefully Brian Thomas Jr. can come around. Hopefully Trevor Lawrence can get together. But, I mean, with all due respect to those guys, I'm taking T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Chase Brown and Joe Burrow right now over what we have. So I think you're going to talk more about a balanced run game as well, which they're capable of doing. Now, the question's going to come, can you pound the rock like you did against Carolina? It may be a little tougher, right? But this is where the play action comes into play. But can you go toe-to-toe and can you throw the football against this Bengals defense? And can you stop Trey Hendrickson? Because even though he's been out, a majority of the preseason, he made his presence known a little bit against the Browns.
Yeah, we probably didn't talk about the offensive line enough. Overall, they did a really good job. We also said, hey, the penalties, got to clean those up. So But the fact of the matter is he was the least pressured quarterback in the NFL this week. Talking about Trevor Lawrence, they ran for 200 yards. You just do those two things, you're really doing a nice job as an offensive line. So hats off to them. Can they do it again this week against the Cincinnati Bengals? One note of useless mention, but I'll do it anyway because I just got an email on it. The Jaguars have gone from 80-1 odds to win the Super Bowl after week 1 to 55-1 odds. So hopefully you got it at 80-1 so that check cashes a little bit better when the Jaguars win the Super Bowl in February. There is that part of it. You mentioned Brian Thomas Jr., and I want to talk about this a little bit because we talked about Brian on the show yesterday and raised a little bit level of, or at least I did, from a concern. I don't want to over-dramatize it. I just think, okay, what was up? And then I go listen to Liam Coen, and he describes like all these different plays where it's like, well, if we hit this and this and this, now you're talking about a 5-catch, 75-yard day at least for Brian Thomas Jr. In the flow of it, nobody's asking a question. So where do you fall on Brian Thomas Jr.? Our conversation a little bit yesterday, like, hey, these guys got to get on the same page, got to get them going a little bit, drops the easy screen ball, or, hey, it just happened that the ones we criticized Trevor for not making happened to be to Brian Thomas Jr. Where are you on this whole thing with Brian?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both, right? Because we talked about with Brian Thomas Jr. how he's a gamer, and when the lights are on, that's when he shines. Well, it was the second pass to him, he dropped in a catch that he should have had.
Yeah.
So, like, that falls obviously on Brian Thomas Jr. Now, Trevor Lawrence missed him a couple of times, right? And I feel like that's kind of been a story now with Brian Thomas Jr., where, you know, even last year with Trevor Lawrence, like, I don't know, there's a disconnect. They're not on the same page. The timing is a little off. But for whatever reason, then you brought in Mac Jones, and it was the Brian Thomas Jr. show. So I think it's a combination of both, Brent. But at the end of the day, they have to get their chemistry down. I don't know if it's a lack of, did they go to summer camp together enough in the offseason, or like what? Like why aren't they on the same page? But you saw it a couple times in that game. You saw it in an easy corner route. You saw it on a crossing pattern where Trevor just missed them, right? And if you're trying to be a top 10 quarterback, if you're trying to be an elite quarterback, if you're trying to justify being a top 5 paid quarterback, those are the throws, especially against more superior teams than the Carolina Panthers, that you have to make.
Yeah, I think so too. And I just don't know if it happened to be, I mean, it could have been me and you out there on the one that he misses on the left side. He just overthrows him. I don't think that had anything to do with landmarks or timing or anything like that. I think that was just an overthrow. The one on the sideline, a little underthrown early in the game, would have been a really nice catch, a tough catch anyway. The one across the middle was the one I remember. Like, ooh, that I like when Liam said that, I was like, oh, I remember that play. That's one you'd like to hit because I think that one really goes for a big gainer right there to Brian Thomas Jr. And the way he runs, he might split it. So who knows? Yeah, I don't fully know. I do not want to go into just over dramatic mode on this. I really don't. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is a really good player. I think he's going to have a really good year. I think Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. are just fine. They did put the work in the offseason. I think this was more circumstance and coincidence than it is like a problem. But I'd like to see a nice day out of them both together, to make sure this doesn't become a thing, because it becomes a thing in the NFL really fast, man.
It absolutely does. And once again, it doesn't do you any favors when Mac Jones last year was the reason why I feel like Brian Thomas Jr. had all the success, right? Like, that's a narrative. And I get it. You know, it's the first game of the season. So let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's see the second game, and hopefully it gets cleaned up and everything. But my only point is that, you know, I said this year the most important thing was finding out who Trevor Lawrence was, right? And I'm sitting here after the first game, and I still don't know. Now, you had a great first game as a team in totality because you won the football game, and that's the most important part. It's wins and losses. And even when you want to compare a quarterback and say, are they elite, are they good, it starts with wins and losses. So, check mark right there, you're 1-0. But at some point, I'm going to put away the analytics. I'm going to put away what people want to say on Twitter and be like, oh, well, you take these percentages of drop balls. Simple as this. If Trevor Lawrence hits Brian Thomas Jr. for those 2 balls that he overthrew him, we aren't having the conversation right now. Is something wrong with Brian Thomas Jr.? Fantasy owners would have been happy. We all would have been happy, and we would have had to find something else to talk about. But since he didn't hit him on 2 throws where he probably should have hit him, now we're having the conversation, well, is something up? Is the timing off? All this stuff. Like, at the end of the day, it's on the quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's got to figure that out. Just a couple of notes to back it up. Real MVB, when we were having this conversation yesterday, he tweeted at us. I just went back and found it. 3 games over 100 yards with Mac versus 1 with Trevor. 5 games with 7+ receptions with Mac, 0 with Trevor. 6 games with 10 or more targets versus Mac versus 0 with Trevor. Can we just say maybe BTJ isn't 16's guy yet? Now, I'm not going to say that, because I don't want to be hypocritical about what we were saying last year. What we were saying is they weren't getting him the football enough. And why was that? And that felt more of an offensive philosophy, offensive scheme, offensive play calling thing. That did not feel, it's never felt to me like it's a 16-7 thing. It felt like in the first half of the year, we were begging for them to get him the ball more, and there would be like a touch in the fourth quarter for him. And then in the back half of the year, when the Jags were injured and lost all these guys, they really force-fed him. That has been a lot of the conversation. Like, they really got him the football because he was the only guy that could make a play at that stage of it. So I don't want to read too much into the numbers of Mac versus Trevor, because I think that might have less to do with the quarterbacks, more to do with the situation, the play calling, and the evolution of that offense, or the whatever the opposite of evolution is of that offense last season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's why I think these guys are going to be fine. I think Brian's a good player, can play with any quarterback. I think that's what he showed me last year more than anything. If he can play with any quarterback, I think Trevor Lawrence can help him have a really good year as well. I just want to see a few more connections so we can stop talking about it, because it's going to be talked about because of fantasy football around the country. Like, I saw so many tweets on it yesterday, like, oh, Trevor, because they're costing 5 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown, and that's got fantasy owners going nuts.
Well, yeah, but also, I mean, he's an elite wide receiver, Brent. Well, I mean, he's on his way to be an elite wide receiver. And you take care of your elite wide receivers. Like, there's a reason why when you're up in the fourth quarter by what you are, you're not running the football and just, running the clock out. They try to get Brian Thomas Jr. the ball because they view him as an elite wide receiver. Liam Coen said it, one of the very first press conferences, of how excited he was to work with Brian Thomas Jr. So the targets are going to be there. Like, the attention in this offense is going to be there for Brian Thomas Jr. And if you're a Brian Thomas Jr. fantasy owner, like, yeah, you should still be intrigued because they're going to try to get him the football. Now it's just a matter of getting the ball in his hands, him catching the ball, but also not overthrowing him and making sure it's in his vicinity for him to catch it.
Hey, let's get Casey in here as well. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Casey Kurtz jumps in the noon hour along with Jason Hamby as well when he's not eating his hamburger and rice meal. I like to look at games like this with the Cincinnati Bengals and take a peek ahead. And so it fits this Brian Thomas Jr. conversation. Like, what will people be talking about after this game? And I think this has a chance to be like, wait a minute, you got Burrow, Chase, and Higgins, who you guys all love and most of the world does, and the Jags have Trevor, Brian Thomas Jr., and Travis Hunter. If you can outduel those guys, man, what a conversation that would be if you're the better trio on Sunday on the road in Cincinnati. So I look at that as an opportunity to really kind of get yourself on the map on Sunday. Okay, give Casey the intro.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, gracing the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network with his presence, the James Gladstone of Jacksonville Sports Media, Mr. 100K by Wednesday, Casey Kurtz.
What up, dog?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to change it up every once in a while.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
How goes it?
Now, are you looking to trade somebody as well? If you're the James Gladstone of sports media, we good.
The James Gladstone line came from being able to identify talent, right? Somebody the second made the team. Now, he didn't play, but Maybe next week for sure. But yeah, like if anybody wants to get traded, let me know. I'll send you to 10-10, whatever it takes.
That could definitely happen. Hey, so what? Let me get you guys' thoughts. You guys are Burrow stans. What do you think? Can the Jags really get themselves on the map this week from an offensive standpoint? Because they think they've got a trio that might be pretty good, and quite frankly, I think has to be pretty good if they're going to do anything special this year.
Yes, they do. I would say that one game has a long way to go from where T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are. I understand they did not look good on offense against Cleveland, and they have to figure that out. That may end up being an unfortunate thing for the Jags, but I think even if the Jags win the football game, you're probably not coming out of it saying that they're in a better situation than the Bengals are, at least offensively. Nice.
I'm waiting for what? Do you want my opinion too, Brent? I mean, I kind of there's kind of a delay, Casey, so we got to go with the delay.
Absolutely.
Here. Okay.
Well, just that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So when we talk about Casey's getting brought up to speed here. So I think yes, obviously it's the advantage of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. Like, how could it not be? They have the resume. They have the years of experience. Like Travis Hunter, I think for an opening game was decent of how they used him. When we talk about Brian Thomas Jr., they still need to find a way to get him the football and throw him the football and let him catch the football. So, yeah, I mean, I think if you're the skilled players of the Jaguars, yes, this is a challenge. You want to go serve for serve. But even if you do, yeah, I agree with Casey. There's going to be a long ways to go before you're going to be in the realm of a Joe Burrow, a Jamar Chase, or a T. Higgins.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm not even trying to – there's so much equity built up with those guys. You can't catch up to it. It's just that it gives you – I mean, this is kind of one of those showcase games where you have all that on the field. So if you can – outduel them or look better than them. I mean, these are just some of the opportunities that happen. We usually talk about this with Trevor Lawrence when he's going up against other quarterbacks. And, again, that's with Joe Burrow here. But we've done that throughout his career. Like, hey, can you better Justin Herbert, right? Or can you better Caleb Williams? Or can you bet all these guys because number one picks and everything else. I just think this is pretty unique because the Jags now think they have a trio. And, obviously, there's really maybe none better in the National Football League than these guys in Cincinnati year in, year out. So it'll be fun to watch that. And it's if you're going to put together a nice game, if you're going to have a big moment, this is one of those times during the course of the year that you can have a big moment. You got another one on Monday night against the Chiefs. Maybe there's another one down the road at some point in Houston or wherever else. But there are a few of these throughout the year that I think would be nice for the Jags to get on everybody's radar a little bit. And people be talking about them on Sunday into Monday. Speaking of talking, you mentioned James Gladstone in your intro to Casey. Daniel Griffiths writes about it today on ActionSportsShacks.com, and a lot of folks are talking about this, that free agency class for the Jacksonville Jaguars, the guys that were brought in, it wasn't like this whole blockbuster, spent a gazillion dollars like the Jags have done in the past. Austin and Casey, early returns pretty good after game one.
I mean, can we get my boy Dennis Gardeck in there as well, please?
He was out there.
He was out there running around, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, obviously it was a fantastic return. We talked about it yesterday a little bit, and that's an important thing. Can you hit on your free agents? Can you hit on your late-round picks?
Where's my dog Hunter Long? Did he not score a touchdown?
Man.
I feel like, and this is a good thing, right? I'm not picking at the graphic, but, like, obviously this is where you spent a lot of your money. But, like, Hunter Long did score, right? And Gardeck contributed. So it's like not only did these guys contribute, but the guys that you brought in that were kind of like an afterthought contributed for you in a week one win. Like, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's a really good thing to get off to this kind of start. See the guy in the picture? Well, first of all, Lewis is tremendous. Like, and he might be really, really good because I think I said this yesterday. You don't really say who's the best nickel in the league. You just don't ask that question very much. It's like, who's the best guard in the league? Not a ton of guys come to mind. You usually just think cornerbacks. But Jordan Lewis is regarded as one of the best. Like Trayvon Walker told us again last night how good he is from that position. And man, did he splash right away. Eric Murray splashed right away. But I think the guy in the picture is really important because Hainsey, who was voted a captain, and I don't really feel like we've talked about him a lot, but I'll tell you guys this, coming out of like a lot of the production meetings, time with Trevor Lawrence, time with the offensive folks, Liam Coen, others, just you would always get a sprinkle of how good Hainsey has been for them, for Trevor, everything else. And I'm not usually you get some of that with your center position. I understand it, but it's just something that caught my attention. And he's obviously getting an opportunity here, and so far so good because it looked like he led that offensive line in a really good way. And Austin, you know it. I mean, the center's important in terms of orchestrating everything that goes on in the offense.
Yeah, and obviously there are some questions about Hainsey just because he essentially got replaced by a rookie, right? So I think Jaguars fans were questioning, well, okay, he knows Liam Cohen's system and everything, but just what can he do on the field if he essentially went down the depth chart last year in Tampa Bay? I mean, once again, it's just one game right now. It's the Carolina Panthers. Take it for what you want, but so far so good for Robert Hainsey, as you know the chart says, 0 pressures allowed and 200 yards rushing. I think any offensive line would take that any day of the week. So far so good, but you're going to have some more challenges coming up here. We take on like the Houston Texans and like the San Francisco 49ers, even the Kansas City Chiefs with Chris Jones. Like there's some pretty solid defensive lines out there.
Casey, I'll give you one more thought on this about about Gladstone. I almost said your guy Gladstone because you were introduced like him.
Pretty much the same person.
Here's the way I look at it. Some of the early decisions they made. One of the decisions that Gladstone made right away, because he had literally got the job and had a news conference, I think, on Monday morning. So I think he got the job on like Friday in late February, maybe Saturday. Got the news conference on Monday. Flew to the combine, and because that was the start of the combine. And one of the first things he said on a microphone was how much he liked and they liked Brenton Strange. And so I even put those kind of decisions in the category. When you are revamping a roster, when you're getting your own people in, you've got to make the right decisions on guys that aren't your guys because you're not going to just replace anybody. So like the Brenton Strange stuff, they saw it as a fit. They liked his game, and man, dividends. All these guys on the list. I think the Tuten and LaQuint Allen selections, as we've discussed here this morning, to allow you to trade Tank Bigsby. I just think some of these moves are at least off to a nice start. Now, in full disclosure here, this is a guy that had the luxury of defending Trent Baalke at times over the last few years because there were signs of returns that he actually had that were pretty good, but it never stayed consistent enough, and it didn't prove to be in a lot of areas. But there were times where even some of the fan base were starting to give praise when they had won 16 out of 19 games or something to the build of that roster. So it's a very small sample, but I just like the fact that some of these decisions were made in a month's time, really 3 weeks' time, to say, hey, we like this guy, we don't like this guy, we're going to free agency and spending money here. And it seems like they're working out pretty good so far.
Yeah. I mean, one weekend you win a football game pretty decisively. Like there's not much to be upset about. I think on the Brenton Strange front, I wish Bro could have scored. I'm not going to say why I needed Bro to score. I'm just saying I wish he could have got in the end zone. But
plus 350 was it, Casey, too?
Yeah, it was pretty large number.
I saw that number as well.
And the receiving number that some people thought he might or may not get to was pretty low week one. That's all I'm going to say. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, and he blocked the heck out of that dude. You can't bet on that. But if you could, I'd throw some down next week because he's probably going to lay somebody out again. So I think the Brenton Strange part of the story is the biggest part because we've talked about for months now about Evan Ingram may be the one that you shouldn't have made the move on. But again, after 1 week, like the return on Brenton Strange is pretty good. Now there's a long way to go, but right now it looks okay.
How did Ingram play?
He was just okay.
I think he got 3 catches and got hurt.
But he got hurt, yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
I don't think it was like catastrophic hurt. Like he's going to come back. Like he's
I'm pretty sure he's slated to start again this week, but I think he was out for some of the game because I don't know what the injury even was.
That Broncos game was a tough watch, though, huh?
Yeah, we're watching that one because obviously my son's a big Bo Nix fan, and
ooh, tough watch. Yeah, he had 3 catches for 21 yards, 4 targets, and then got hurt.
Yeah. Okay, and by the way, that's interesting, right? Because that's another – I almost forget about the fact that Ingram and Kirk were some of those big moves early on, and Kirk missed the first game because of a hamstring injury. Looks like he's going to miss this week as well. I think I saw that he'll probably miss the first couple of weeks, and we'll see if he plays against Jacksonville in Week 3. So, I mean, that's the other side to balance. Who did they get rid of? Where did they go? Were some of those things the right decisions? And we'll see. Again, very small sample size at the moment.
Do we have a PFF ranking on Luke Fortner for Week 1? Or?
Can't imagine that we do.
Well, hey, Liam Coen mentioned him in the press conference too. Don't forget, like the first one. You remember that? Remember that whole thing? Remember when our dude mentioned Luke Fortner, and we're all kind of like, and I get it, he's a Kentucky guy, but we all kind of were like, okay, all right, coach, we got you.
I think we're going to see how everybody did in their picks because our picks are presented by Mason's Famous Lobster Rolls each and every week. So we'll do that on the other side. We're up here at Fernandina Beach location. I'm sorry, guys, but we do have to tell the results. I've had to do that on the show before. No dart throwing today, though, and the weekend wagers. We'll see how everybody did on the picks. Team Hamby and Martineau, Team Kurtz and Lane, Team Action Sports Jacks. That's up next on the Brent Austin Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242. You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing. Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Save 10% off any water heater, plus no trip charge. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
For the game day hustle and every day in between. Juggling my show, Jag Social, to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
Grab some friends and go to a restaurant or head out for a drink and some conversation. Watch your favorite team play on the big screen. Or how about play some games? You can do all of that in one night at Best Bet. Each location has a different vibe, its own personality, like here at the original Best Bet in Orange Park. When you walk through these doors, everybody knows your name. And here in St. Augustine, it's the newest location. Play some poker. How about the table games? And don't forget about Ace's Sports Bar and Grill. And then there's the Jacksonville location right here on Monument Road. It's the biggest poker room in the state of Florida. Maybe you'll find yourself a seat right here at the final table. Best Bet, where you can have the best of times. And that makes you always go home a winner. Try any of the 3 locations, and you can always visit bestbetjacks.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Our 6-pack of picks is presented by Mason's Famous Lobster Rolls, and here's how we're doing on the weekend spreads. A 3-game lead so far over the sports office. Marcel, Stuart, Olivia, and then Austin and Casey. Rough start for the fellas. Early lead. Can't talk too much trash. Not yet.
Marathon, not a sprint, everybody. Marathon, not a sprint. Everybody relax.
I want the LIU logo back. Take the Lions off. Give us LIU. We're LIU the whole year.
No, you're not. You're whoever you lost with or won with that week.
I want to be LIU.
Okay, I'll take the Lions then.
The Mike.
I think the Lions will come back and do pretty well.
Mike McDaniel hot seat.
Oh, come on. We're better than the Dolphins. The Dolphins suck.
Do you remember who you picked?
We went 5-1. Did we go 5-1, Hamby, this week?
Yeah, 4-2 last week, 5-1 this week. Our only L was Duke, Illinois.
Ha-ha! We got that one.
Got him.
Dang.
You guys know nothing about Duke, Illinois. That's the only one we got?
That's the you got 2. That was one of them.
Who was the other one? Do you know? Because we can't figure it out.
It wasn't the You picked the Panthers.
I know.
You picked the Ravens.
Damn right.
You picked.
Was it Rams?
You got the. No, you got. Oh wait, no, you only got one this week. Yeah, because you went 3-3 last week. Because you went Illinois, Michigan, which lost. Panthers lost. Lions lost. Texans lost. Bills won.
All right,
got it. All right.
Comeback's gonna be epic, you bums.
What was your SAT score again?
Oh.
Mine.
No, I was asking Casey's.
Oh.
I didn't take the SATs actually.
I didn't either. I'm an
ACT
guy.
Those are our weekend spreads and picks.
All right. Thank you, Brett. Nicely done.
I don't blame you. Where's your picks presented by Mason's Famous Lobster Rolls? Go ahead.
Okay. Brett, you can't hear that, but we're feuding.
Bam, 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 bam. Do you want me to sing it for him?
And you could.
Bam, bam, bam. Okay. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam.
There we go. So I'm not here tomorrow, so we're going to feud today on a Tuesday. Tuesday's usually a rotating. I had another bit that I liked, but I just couldn't execute it in a way that it wasn't completely dumb. So check back for that one later in the year. But
something to bookmark and look forward to, apparently.
Yeah, I really thought I had some good ideas. As it turns out, it sucks. So I was like, I'm not going to be here tomorrow, so let's do Feud today. And this one I had to do this morning. It was quick. I had to run over to the town center about right when they opened. And I said, I need people to react to the breaking news. Tank Bigsby, get out of town. We don't want you anymore. Go to Philadelphia. I'm not sure if that's what they said to him, but that's how I interpret it. Top 5 answers on the board. Why did the Jags trade Tank Bigsby?
Okay. Why did the Jaguars trade Tank Bigsby? I mean, I'll start it out. I think they had a very deep running back room. So, depth purposes.
You better believe it. Depth purposes. Number.
Log jam at running back. Okay.
Yeah, the log jam. Brent, what do we
Yeah.
got? What you got?
Yeah, let's see. Let me go with unhappy player.
Unhappy player. Yeah, there's reason to believe Tank Bigsby might not have been the happiest. Hamby, do we have unhappy player?
Music to my ears. Let's go with.
We do not have that, Brent, by the way, just to confirm. That's a big
yeah.
old X, my guy.
He didn't fit Liam Cohen's scheme or system.
Didn't fit the team. You better believe it. Mm-hmm. Brent?
Mm-hmm.
Good value in a trade.
Good value in a trade with the Super Bowl champs. Hamby, we got value. Brent, you better believe it. You're on the board. Draft
Nice.
capital coming back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Nicely done.
All right. Now it's getting a little more complicated, I feel like. Why
Yep.
did the Jaguars trade Tank Bigsby?
One of them, listen, there's one on here that might be a real answer you guys might just not want to say.
Okay.
But this is what the people said.
This is what the people said. I'm not afraid to say it.
Okay. I got you. They don't know what they're doing.
Oh.
That's what. What kind of clue was that then?
I didn't watch.
I mean, if you play it back,
Okay.
It's easy.
and you go by your clue.
He's not.
No, I think you misread it.
Oh, I think I did completely.
That's not what I heard. That's
Brent,
not
what do you
what I
got?
heard.
All right, what'd you hear, Brent?
I think it's he's not very good.
Not
Oh yeah.
nicely done, Brent. That
Oh
was
yeah. I got you. Hey, that wasn't me talking. That was the people at the town center. I don't know what they're thinking
They
sometimes.
don't know what they're doing.
All right. You want to give a clue for the last one? Because I have no idea. Why did the Jaguars let go of Tank Bigsby?
This one,
Oh, I mean, can I make a guess? I'll make a guess. Because he's a reminder of the old regime.
it's not bad. It's not right, but it's not bad. Brent?
Okay.
Oof. I'm going to say that he fumbles too much.
Known fumbler. I was really hoping that was on there, but it's not. I do respect you for saying it, though. Nicely done, Brent, but that's not the right answer.
I think we should give him a clue.
I have two. I have. What's my last strike here?
So I feel like this hasn't been a thing recently,
Okay.
but early in the Tank Bigsby career in Jacksonville.
Okay. He gets hurt sometimes?
Austin takes it.
Oh. Well, I needed that win.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
After our bets and everything.
Brent was not happy with that one, but Austin takes it with the injury concerns in the
Wow,
field.
okay. I didn't.
All right. Next one. Brent, we're hanging on every word that you say, man.
Any sound,
because of the delay.
any movement, any breath.
We're hanging on every word.
We're ready, bro. We're ready for just some knowledge to be dropped. And right when we think it's about to happen, It's not there, Brett. Just do me a favor. Don't say anything so I can keep going here when you finally hear this in a couple minutes. This next one, though, is straight up and straightforward. This is not asking people at the town center. This is just your top 5 non-quarterback fantasy point scorers from week 1 in the NFL.
Okay.
You might as well start because Brent won't hear this till next week.
Okay. I'll go ahead and start this off. Ubeka from whatever, the guy from Tampa Bay, the wide receiver from Ohio State.
Emeka
Ibuka.
He is on there.
Yeah.
I do want to say, Brent, just so you know, since you're up now, Emeka Ibuka in the 4 with 19.6. This is standard scoring. This is not PPR.
And I'm sorry, are we counting quarterbacks or not counting quarterbacks?
No quarterbacks.
Gotcha, okay.
Running backs, tight ends, receivers, kickers, defense, special
I'm
teams.
going with Derrick Henry.
You didn't sound too confident there, Brent, but you better believe it. Number 1 answer, 28.2, and fumbled the football, so it was over 30.
I mean, can I count Justin Fields as a running back? I'm kidding. Okay, but okay, so and kickers, you said,
Could
right?
be a kicker.
Could be a kicker.
Defense, special teams, maybe a tight end.
I mean, do we? Because Brent took mine. All right, I gotta get something out of here. Let's go with
real quick. Number 5. 2 people had the same score. Just so you know.
Okay, number 5 people have the same score. Yeah. Okay, thank you for that. Let's go ahead and go with. Put up a lot of points. Did Ashton Genty? I mean, I know he didn't have a lot of yards, but touchdowns?
Is that a guess?
I'm saying Ashton Genty. Yeah. Okay.
He did score though, I believe.
Dang.
Brett?
Oh boy, I shouldn't go with this one this quick, but I'm going to try it anyway because I don't know how your scoring system works in standard for field goal kickers. But Cam Little did have 4 of them, and if you get more for a longer distance, I think he had a couple of those. So how about Cam Little?
Cam Little?
I hate to tell you, Brent, that one's not on there, but that's a good guess though.
Okay,
not too bad.
If it's not,
had a
Cam
good day
Little.
for my fantasy team. I think he had 15.
Just
I believe.
stick to receivers and running backs.
Okay. I mean, they put up some points. I didn't really watch a lot of this game. Can we go Bijan Robinson?
Bijan Robinson for the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
He is on there in the last, tied with Javonte Williams, 18.4.
Okay.
2 and 3 still on the board, Brent. What do we got?
Gosh, that was a good one with Bijan because he had like 100 yards receiving. I want to go back to that, like Bills. I don't know who had a big game for the Bills. I'm going to go with James Cook.
So close, but yet so far. James Cook, not the correct answer. Austin?
Are there any tight ends on this list?
There are 2 pass catchers.
Dalton Kincaid?
Dalton Kincaid did score a touchdown, not a right answer.
Okay.
But hey, listen,
That's
there
2
is
strikes.
Stay that game, buddy. Stay in
there
that
is
game.
one more football player from this game, Brent. He's also on my fantasy team. No big deal.
I know. I knew I was close. I wouldn't know that part of it. Do I go tight end? Do I go? Who the heck are the receivers in Buffalo these days? No shoes guy.
Nope, he's not on the
Shakir.
Bills.
Matt Collins plays for I think he's at the Patriots.
Is Shakir the guess, Brent?
Sure.
No. Okay.
All right. I'm going to.
Ravens had 40 points in the third quarter. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's not Andrews. It's man. I'm going away from that game. I'm going to the Colts game because they put up like 30-something points. So somebody had to have a. Okay.
We made fun of one of these guys openly on the show on Friday because he's been known not to catch.
Was it really him that had the? Go ahead, Brent.
Probably don't know it.
I didn't even know who we made fun of on Friday, other than I was just going to go with a Baltimore guy, Zay Flowers.
Hey!
Yeah.
Look at you go, Bert. Known ball knower. Zay Flowers, 21.1.
You know.
Austin, take us home.
Man, I wish I could. I think I'm going to take us to the rest stop because I have no idea who this...
Known dropper.
Is this from the Ravens game as well?
No.
Oh, okay, known dropper.
Has been known to drop the ball more times than catching it.
I mean, you keep saying that I think Mark Andrews, but that ain't it. Known drop? Oh, God, yeah. Okay. Yep, I got it. Yeah. Quentin, whatever his name is. And listen, let me say right now, if this guy puts up Jamar Chase fantasy numbers this year, I'm done with football. Yeah. I'm done with football.
Yeah.
That's not fair. I forgot all about him. Yeah. Yes. Good call.
There you go.
Everybody forgot about him. That was good. That was good. I got to start looking at these box scores. I didn't. If I don't play fantasy, I better look at box scores and be ready for this Jacksonville feud or some trivia earlier in the week. But how about that, John? That was was that the most out of nowhere that you can remember in a long time?
Johnston, yeah.
Oh yeah, hands down. I mean, I'm trying to watch Lad McConkey lead my team, and I'm like, okay, he got his reps, but I'm like, this dude who I had last year, who you couldn't depend on for anything, 2 touchdowns in a game? Come on.
Yeah, it was pretty surprising, and the Chargers win. And boy, Justin Herbert looked good. A lot of the quarterbacks looked good, and some looked just okay week 1. All right, Casey Kurtz, Austen Lane, Jason Hamby. We'll do it again tomorrow here on the Brent and Austin Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. Coming up next, Club 904 with Mia O'Brien. I think Austin's going to jump in there for a few minutes as well. Good to be up here in Fernandina Beach, Mason's famous lobster rolls. Check it out at masonslobster.com here in Fernandina and in the town center. Have a good Tuesday, everybody.
Welcome inside the Armor Guard Exterior and Gutter Helmet Showroom. There's a lot going on, like glass exteriors, replacement windows, and down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters, and to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why Gutter Helmet?
Well, Gutter Helmet is truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground, the water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of filters, which requires maintenance. With Gutter Helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter Helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
This has been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax PAL.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can get a free Kinetico reverse osmosis system with a purchase of a Kinetico Premier softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Kinetico water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Kinetico dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
Sun's out, suits out. That's right, it's summertime in Florida, which means it's time to say goodbye to bulking season and hello to shredding season. But if you're like me, you're having a hard time sculpting and shaping those final pounds. That is until I came and saw my friends over at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Right now, everyone is hopping on the Evolve X train, and the only destination is finding your perfect summer body. The technology uses electrical muscle stimulation and radio frequency energy to cause your muscles to contract, all while heating up those deep layers of your skin and tissue to produce collagen and reduce fat. It's like doing 1,000 sit-ups in 30 minutes. No pain, no needles, just results, right? That's right. So leave those winter layers back at the station and come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in